The best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay, what's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay, it's not like,
man. Thank goodness.
Can you hear me, 43? Can you hear me? Are we live?
Hey, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're live. So,
Cool.
do you think happened? I could be wrong, but I think
Just
you logging in.
I can hear you. Just give me 2 seconds. I just need to fix an echo.
Yep. So I'll just speak to the people in the chat. What's going on? We might have just gone offline for, well, maybe been online, but basically the intro started, everything happened, and I was ready to jump on at the end of that, the intro, and everything just crashed. My whole browser crashed. So I had to reset everything. And I'm just wondering if maybe Restream, you logged in, it kicked me out or something. I don't know. Which it shouldn't, because you have your own user credentials. So there's no reason why that should happen. But look, that's all cool. I can hear you fine, by the way, Tangent. I could hear you fine when you were talking. Big good day to everyone in the chat. I think before we've got a message here from Richard Hart, so let me go ahead and play that.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Richard Hart here. It's my birthday, so I'd figure I'd record you guys a little message, say hello, let you know everything's going all right. Hope you're doing okay out there.
There you go. Short and sweet.
Yes.
Happy birthday to Richard Hart, the guy who created HEX, PulseChain, and and basically got this whole ecosystem going. Dude, had you heard that message? I mean, it is very short. How long's it go for? I think he's breaking records on how short these messages are.
Well, Eric Wall said that he thinks it's AI. And there was I did a little pre-party unrecorded Twitter space before this stream. And one of the guys in there also thought that it sounded a bit like AI to him. I don't think it is, but as in, it sounds legit enough.
I'm trying to understand. So, it wasn't him. Someone else is posting on his account AI stuff instead of him just saying a message from his own account,
or him doing it for some weird reason, or I don't think they went that deep on why. They just thought it did sound like AI.
Clearly they didn't go very deep on that.
I mean,
why would you use AI to say a 10-second message? I think he just said let's not complicate things. He just, said it was his birthday and wished everyone well. I don't think it needs to be complicated, but we're talking about someone who basically put together this ecosystem. So check it out, man. This is where we're at with PulseChain.
Yeah.
44,000 plus validators. Now this is this at the crypto B must be European, because they don't use commas as their separators. They do the opposite of us. They use commas as their decimal point. So
by the way, Bullish will kick my ass if I don't point out here that number of validators is not actual individual validators, because some people have
no, they're individual validators with 32 million pulse, but they're not instances of the blockchain, because one
yes,
yeah, that's what we're saying.
So it depends.
So you can have multiple
depending on
validators
what you care
on
about
one.
that stat for. So if people are trying to use it as a sort of a proxy for decentralization and that sort of thing, then it's probably important to note that. If all you care about is how much Pulse is actually being tied up and not able to be sold, then that metric is probably a reasonable one to use, because it literally is that 32 million times that number of validators. But yeah,
it's also, I mean, if one instance of the blockchain is securing multiple validators, like that means that there's a lot of faith in that instance of the blockchain, right?
Yeah, it matters. So it's almost like if you're looking at it like a node.
And ETH works this way as well, by the way. ETH works exactly the same. You can have as many, like 32 ETHs validating one instance of the blockchain as you like.
Yeah, but I guess it just gets super expensive very quickly to have many validators all at one. You know what I mean? Like these ones are very cheap by comparison. But yeah, it does.
Oh yeah. As far as the value of 32 million Pulse,
it's not a criticism or a problem. It's just important to note, just so that people are clear with exactly what it does and doesn't mean.
Yeah, so Ethereum never had this situation because it only just went over to proof of stake now. So it's never had this situation of having like a lower. So what is, like, I haven't even worked it out, but what is the 32 million times the price of Pulse at the moment?
Because we're just under half sack rate, aren't we? Oh, I just heard a sound. Is someone in the waiting room? 32, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So it's about 1,200.
Yeah, $1,280.
1,200.
It would be like just over $1,300.
Hey, Sammy.
What's up?
Sammy, what's up?
What's going on?
What are you
We're
talking
just
about?
we're talking about the number of validators and
Oh yeah.
And just having a look at like the PulseChain ecosystem, which this is sort of, there's an icon here for, so if you look at, for example, if we look to the right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 analytics sites. That's just some of them. There's GoPulse, there's Verify PLA, there's Ching Ching, Hex Scout, Pulse, ComList, look into Hex, Coast Data, Hex. I don't even know a couple of. I need to go check out some of these, and I know there's actually more as well. Like if you want to go and look at just the Hex ones, and some of them are down here. So there's Hex Daily Stats, there's the Hedron website, there's Hex Stake, there's lots of Hex ones. There's Domain, Oracle, Bridges, Privacy, stable coins, wallets, incubators, meme coins, loads of meme coins there.
Yeah, I thought that HOA was
trading
on this,
decks.
was on this, but it doesn't look like it is. I can see the Pussycat one. There's some of the meme coins, like Tangang meme coins, should be on here for sure. I see Where's the ETH? That's that one that looks like a dude standing there, like in a white jacket or whatever. HOA was on here.
If you look at content creators, look at all the content creators. It's like half of the whole page is just content creators. Have a look, mate. Right there.
Cool.
DeFi down under.
Cool.
And I don't know if you guys are individually on there as well. Like you guys, you guys might be individually on there. If you could, can you see your avatar?
No.
Well, where can we get this? Like, where can we? Is this accessible? Like the most up to date version of this?
I just saw it on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
I just saw it on Twitter.
So what's been happening, guys?
Yeah,
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
Apart from, hey, let me just one thing. Like the last few days, I've just been like a little bit sad about the shit going down in the world.
Oh, it's sad.
To be
Isn't it
honest.
horrible?
Oh, it's horrible. It's just horrible. It's all horrible, you know? All of it's horrible, you know? Yeah, just.
But I think it's always been there in those countries. But I think social media amplifies it and shows you what it's realistically like over there. It's just we haven't seen it. You know, all the other times they've started wars over there and fought dirty the way they're fighting. It's if you're on any social media platforms, it's just disgusting. Like you just have to just shut yourself off. It's inhuman what they're doing if you've seen it.
But remember that, like with everything, you only get a limited view as to exactly what's going on. So, I think part of the reason that they flood social media with this shit is exactly to make people feel like how you guys feel right now. Like, so you like, I'm not saying just to completely ignore it, but don't let it like fuck you up, because a lot of it is a psyop. A lot of it is,
dude, it's been fucking me up this week.
Don't let it fuck with you, man. Don't let it fuck with you.
No, I can't.
Dude, there's some things that when you see it and you know it's real, it fucks you up, man. There's stuff. Like,
I saw some.
I remember years
ago.
I remember when all that stuff went down in, like there were, in the Mediterranean, there were like families on boats. I remember hearing a story about like some people who had from Turkey. They got on a boat to go to the UK, like a dad and a son.
Yep.
They got on the boat to go to the UK because in the UK they could get like their teeth fixed. They could get like, and I remember like, and what happened is the boat crashed or something, and then like the child died, and it was like a photo of that, and it's just heartbreaking, man, just to see innocent kids and just innocent people mixed up in all this sort of stuff. Whenever you see anything like this, it in real time breaks my heart, man. This morning I had to stop for a few minutes and just clear my head, because you're scrolling through, you might scroll through Twitter and then it just something comes up and you're like, I wasn't ready for that, you know, not mentally ready for that. Yeah. So
makes you think how lucky we are that we live in a Western world where, you know, we live a pretty peaceful, free life, a long way away from that, you know. But on another note, crypto is looking like shit.
I take your point, Tangent. You got to try not to let it, you know. But when there's real stuff, it gets you, man. When it's like when you actually see real stuff, it's just like, you know.
You guys are right that there's horrible shit that goes on around the world all the time, and a lot of it you don't see. And so, like, yeah, I try to not, like, shit that's completely out of my control. I try to, as a general rule, I try to never let that shit fuck with me. But obviously, while also simultaneously trying to do what I can to change the things that I do think need to be changed in the world. But it's like, if you allow shit that is outside of your control to fuck with you, then you, like, how can you win in that situation? Like, how can you deal with it? Do you know what I mean? Like, as in,
the thing is, mate, that when you see something that's got like a little kid in it, and you immediately
imagine your own children.
Immediately. It's just like, and that just, your heart just sinks, mate. When you know, it's hard to, and then you think like these people are actually going through it. So your heart goes out to all of them. Like, you know, if there was just a way for it to all stop, mate.
I generally get angry if I think about it enough, because I know that most of this shit is completely avoidable. Like, and most of the shit is either deliberately orchestrated or completely avoidable, and it's completely fucked. Like, it makes it way worse, like way worse compared to something if you believe that it's genuinely required, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a hard one. They've been grappling with it for a long time. I don't know. I wouldn't even pretend to even understand like the complexity of what's going on in that region. It's just that is just yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Hey, I wanted to say something about that because it really has affected me in the last few days. It really has.
I'm glad you did, because I think it's affected everybody, because you can't ignore it. You can't just ignore that stuff. It's in your face, and it's good that you've acknowledged it, because it is really damn sad what's going on. But on the other note, crypto is looking like shit, and crypto bubbles was all red today. Hi, DJ Creditas, T-Bag, Magic Carpet, Rye, Red Squirrel, Par Excellence, Ash. Yeah, and but you know what? It is what it is. Crypto goes up, crypto goes. How many months away from the halvening? Are we 6 months?
I think it's around March, April, around there. Because, by the way, it's not that I don't know, it's that we can't know. So, but it's going to be around that time.
So around about 6-7 months away.
Yeah.
But don't we see a dip after halvening anyway before it actually becomes a bull?
Yeah, it basically, I think 6 months is a pretty reasonable approximate.
Be interesting. Bitcoin's looking quite good though. We've got up there. It's hanging around that level. I mean,
that's what I was just about to say. Seven came into my Twitter space and said that you would expect that if people were still treating Bitcoin as a risk-on asset, then this war breaking out or whatever, or potential for war, would have people selling the shit out of it. So the fact that it barely moved is very bullish.
Yeah, it's looking great, really.
It's extremely bullish.
I actually read a tweet. I read a tweet a few days ago. It was actually from T-Bird, and he was talking about minting Hedron on Ethereum because the gas prices were so low. And I thought to myself, that's actually really smart.
Minting Hedron.
You know how like originally when Hedron, like from the stakes, you know how people like locked in the bonuses and all of that stuff, or even if you haven't, like if you've got like native HEX stakes, then you automatically can mint Hedron from it. But if you've got lots and lots of stakes, that can be a very costly thing to do on Ethereum when gas prices are just like normal. Now that they're very, very low, you can go and mint a whole bunch of them, and it's a pretty cheap thing to do. So that was a good idea.
I mean, gas price on ETH is quite low at the moment as well.
On ETH, that's what I'm talking about. On ETH.
Oh, you are talking about ETH. Sorry, I thought you were talking about how it's cheap on Pulse.
Pulse is always cheap, bro.
It is cheap.
Red light special. But I thought that was the point.
Yeah.
Was like that you can get it done on Pulse. So you're saying now you can do it on both?
Yeah, you could always do it on Pulse, and now you can do it on Ethereum really cheap because gas prices are like 5 or 6 gwei. When I looked at it a day or two ago.
Yeah, everyone's gone home.
Everyone's gone home. They'll be back.
So what has anyone seen these Pulse OG NFTs that come out all over Twitter? Everyone's minting them. Does anyone know anything about it?
Yep. Yeah. They came to the Tang game, and so I knew about it just for being in the Tangang, and they basically, the short version is they came to the Tangang, they recognized that Tangang was the shit in terms of like the best chance that they had for getting like awareness and that sort of thing, and like the style of how everyone in there behaves and how they get attention, that sort of thing. And so they created a collab where there were 100 free NFTs for Tangang members if you met certain requirements. Like you had to hold a certain amount of HOA and you had to be around at the time. And then they went into their full mint phase for 5,555 NFTs, which sounds like a lot. It's like just over half the largest mint that people typically do, which is like a 10,000 mint. And the deal was that you actually get 20 months of token emission by holding the NFT. So of their 9mm token, which is going to be the token that gets all the profit from like all their different protocols. They're going to have an NFT marketplace, like a Pancake Swap V3 DEX, the block scanner, which obviously doesn't have an income revenue stream, but other stuff as well. And then the minting was going like steady. And then when it got sort of past the halfway mark, everyone just started FOMOing in, and the thing went from like half minted to completely sold out in like a day.
Really? Shit. Insane. Yeah. I thought I was going to be too late. I didn't ever really look into it, but I thought, yeah, it was going to be crazy.
And then because that happened, it raised a whole shit ton of awareness because people heard about it minting out really fast. I think people were like, quick, man, like get some, and then they'd go there and it'd be sold out.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's actually quite a demand on secondary because there were people that sort of like went to FOMO in, and then before they could, it was sold out.
Yeah. Understandable.
So it's pretty unique that most NFT projects, as you know, are just literally the picture and you speculate on whether someone will pay more for it. This one actually has built into it is you're going to get 20 airdrops, one a month for 20 months. In fact, I think it's only 19 months because the first one happens at t=0. But so don't quote me on that part. But and it's quite a large percentage of the supply. I think it's like 30 or 40% of the total supply gets airdropped to the token holder, to the NFT holder.
Oh, nice. Yeah, cool.
So, by the way, you can just buy them on secondary. I know people who already have, or at least they've gone to look at it. I don't know whether they actually bought it or not because I don't like eyeball other people's finances. But several people asked me where they can get them from. And so you can pick them up on secondary for not that expensive. And then if you're the holder, you get the emissions as those things happen. So it's not too late. And I think some of them are not like extraordinarily more expensive than the mint price. So it might be like 1.5 to 2x the price that you would have got at mint, which is not crazy.
Yeah, cool. You know, we got the Sydney meetup this weekend. It's going to be.
Oh, no way. That's so cool.
This weekend.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's a Friday night, the pub, and then Saturday, the booze cruise is going to be 27 at the Circular Quay in Sydney on Saturday, and then a breakfast on Sundays. And see, there's a couple of people in the chat coming on the weekend. Can't wait to meet you. And T-Bird, thanks for sending that merch because we're on the Friday night. We've got some games and there's some really cool prizes. And T-Bird sent us down some merch, and that's also T-Bird. What's that guy's name that sets you up with some merch from the States? So yeah, he sent some stuff down. So that's some cool prizes. Yeah, Brian Magruder.
I thought 43 had stepped away. Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
How many days of activities is it? It's just
3.
Like 3. Far out, man.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Brian Magruder. That's the one. So yeah, thanks T-Bird. We appreciate it. And we're going to have a lot of fun in the sun in Sydney. And even DJ Creditas is our own personal DJ because he's a DJ anyway, so he'll be DJing at our party. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, a friend of mine actually really likes T-Bird's tweets, rates them highly, and I agree as well. By the way, that wasn't meant to sound like it was someone else's opinion and not mine. I actually also agree. So yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I know Doza and Klaz are going over there, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're coming Friday night. Thanks, Steve. Are you coming, Stephen? Let us know in the chat. If you're coming to the meetup, stick your finger up at me like this in a little emoji. Yeah, so it's going to be fun.
What does that mean for Sammy, for people that might be thinking about coming last minute, who obviously would have to be in Australia already?
Yeah.
Is it too late? Like, is it?
No, it's not too late.
It's not too late. So if people are doing like a last minute thing where they're like, actually, shit, I want to go to this thing, they can still go.
Hit me or Darba, and we'll open up the bookings for 24 hours because we still have a few extra tickets. We had some people not being able to make it. So yeah, we'll absolutely see what we can do for you. So cool. Don't miss out if you like some company, meeting up with all the Hexicans. Yell out and we'll see what we can do for you. It's not a problem.
And especially if you're in Sydney, so that you don't.
Yeah, no excuses if you're in Sydney. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
That's wild, yeah.
We'll send heaps of photos and let you know how we all go. Maybe put some photos on the Tuesday.
Yeah, I expect the timeline to just be absolutely blasted.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do. And I'm going to Sydney for nearly a week, so it's going to be nice just to have a break away from Melbourne.
I absolutely love Sydney.
Awesome, that's HEX. Yeah, I love Sydney. It's freaking awesome, and the people are awesome too.
You guys are going to have a blast. And props to me for organising it all.
We need to send Sammy flowers, like in the digital sense. Yes, that's because that's been a while that you've been planning this for.
Yeah, I'd like to get in early when you've got to deal with big groups of people. I like to get in early and get it all organised. Otherwise, running around at last minute is just not my style. So yeah, we were organised for months, and it's worked out really well. And special thanks to Darb. He's been amazing. He's the man. He's the brains behind it all, really.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And
yeah, that's, it's the correct time to be doing it so that like pre crazy bull, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of like the responsible time to be having a crypto meetup so that anyone that comes along to it is like, oh, I might get involved in crypto, doesn't get absolutely effing wrecked.
Yeah. It's a good time to get in. And, if you're in the States, CZ, Christy Todd in Texas is having a meetup too. I think a week or two after the Sydney meetup, and she throws a real banger of a party. And I know that B Roots will be there, SJ Wild, RG3, Just Being Black. So all those Yankee Doodle Dandy Hexicans will be over there. So hit CZ up. Christy Todd, if you want to go to a party in Texas.
Awesome.
Absolutely awesome. Legendary.
Hey, I was looking at, Desi from the Maximus DAO collection of tokens.
Yep.
Which is, for those of you who are unsure or don't know, it's a tokenized HEX stake. So it's a tokenized HEX stake. And I just noticed that has, like, people have been buying that up in the last few months. Like, if you go have a look at it compared to HEX, it's come up a lot. Like, it used to get more deci per HEX than you do now. Like, it used to get a lot more. And in the course of, like, a few weeks, maybe a month or two. It's been bought up, and it's not too far apart now, which is the way it should be, really, because it's the way it should be.
Yeah. I mean, one of them was coming up to redemption, the base or whatever.
That was the yearly, the 1 year one.
That yearly one
they have.
So that should have basically gone to the exact level, right? When
that was pretty much close to the exact level that tracked back level the whole year. From what I remember, it was like always very, very close to what had been accrued to that point.
Yep. Oh, Nas confirmed, sorry, that that it was 40%. So, by the way, I should actually have also mentioned that everyone in the Tang Gang is hyper bullish on that 9 mil ecosystem. And so yeah. Hell yes. What were you just talking about, 43?
I was saying we were talking about base.
That's right. Yeah.
Desi, because all
sorry,
the
I
other
remembered.
ones
I remembered what I wanted to say. Thank you. I remembered what I wanted to say. I'm in. So I joined Fux Pool super early, super early. As soon as it became available, that was basically all of those tokens, the PulseChain versions of them, in a pool. So it's like, I don't even know if it has Pulse in it. I don't think it does. I think it's just HEX and all of the like Maxi, Lucky, blah 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 blah, all the fucking perps. And my thesis was, these things are going to kind of like oscillate around each other pretty much, right? Like you're not going to have one that's just going to be like deviating like heaps. So you kind of make low risk fee yield, in the sense that it's almost like having multiples of a very similar asset. And so that there will be volume between them, but it's not going to get crazy differences. And I think it's been working well. And so when I hear stuff like that, I'm kind of already
like as far you're talking as far as being an LP, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
but you are holding all of those assets within your ownership of that,
and it's a good
LP, so
it's a good LP, because the ratio, you're saying the ratio shouldn't change too much between them.
Yeah, you shouldn't you shouldn't ever have one of them just going like really far away from the other ones, where you get sort of weird impermanent loss shit happening.
Well, that's sort of what was going on with Desi, though, wasn't it? Actually, you know what? I don't know what Desi was doing. No, Desi.
Oh, okay.
Desi was the 10-year one. But to be honest with you, I didn't really follow the PulseChain side. I was just looking at the Ethereum, because the reason for that was because on Ethereum, I just feel like those tokenized stakes have more of a use case than on, like, they've got a use case on PulseChain as well, but the whole point of them is that the end stake fee, like the minting fee at the end, is like there's only one for everyone. So I think that's like a massive advantage, where the end stake fees could be potentially quite high on Ethereum. So the use case on Ethereum is it's right there, but you can still use them on PulseChain. Absolutely, why not? And the reason Desi was such a great for like a couple of months there was such a great buy is because it was, you would get more HEX per Desi. Like, no, what was it? You get more Desi per HEX, right? Which doesn't even make sense, because initially you swapped HEX for Desi 1 for 1, right? That's initially how it worked. You would mint Desi for 1 HEX. So it makes no sense that it was so,
and that was
worthless.
what went, and that's what goes into that's what was going into the stake. So there's a theory here. I'll just pull it up, put it up in lights, as Crypto 7 would say. This person says that one possible reason is because
it's a HEX enthusiast.
there was FUD that got circulated that made people think that the minting function might have been broken. And so then once Base went through its first one and minted out with, or like was able to be redeemed, etc., with no problems, it's given people the confidence that the other ones are not going to have a problem and have been buying them up. It's just a theory. Like, as in, I'm not saying this is definitely what it is.
Well, the only ones that, only Desi was the one that was like, not like a good buy. That was a bargain. That was like on discount.
Oh,
the other ones like the Trio and Lucky, there was not much. There was nothing there, nothing to gain really. But the Desi one was a massive buying opportunity. Mainly because you could get so many T-shares. You could get so many T-shares compared to if you actually just went and staked your HEX for 10 years. You get more T-shares buying the Desi. So yeah.
Yes, yeah. I think we actually talked about this on a previous episode. Do you remember a few weeks ago?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We were talking about we were talking. You actually brought it up and mentioned how good a deal it was, like how it was just so much better if you're chasing T-shares. This might have been a really long time ago, actually, that we were talking about this. It might have been like 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember it was. I remember him saying that too.
Yeah, it was maybe a couple of months ago.
It's that kind of like crowd mentality, right? It's the sheep mentality where if people are like, oh, well, this is like mad undervalued, but like obviously there must be a reason why no one's buying it. But it's just because everyone's doing sheep shit and thinks that everyone else knows what they're doing. And then once it starts to go up, people are like, oh shit, I knew that was undervalued, but now that it's going up, I realized that I was right about that. And then they buy in as well, and it just pushes it up.
I wonder if that's going to go down again because it still is another 9 years out. Like, I wonder if it's going to keep fluctuating and oscillating in that way. I think there's less opportunity for that to oscillate. You know, like the Trio is only two years away now.
I think once we go in a bull market, I think once we go in into a bull market, because people are actively looking for shit to buy, as soon as they see any shit like that where you can actually like mathematically prove that something is actually undervalued, it's going to get bought the fuck up. So I don't think, I think once we're in full bull mode, you're not going to see discounts, but then maybe in the next bear, it might have them. And there'll still be oscillations, even if it's like overvalued, it's still going to oscillate between more and less overvalued. You know what I mean? Like, look at what's happening with the GBTC discount at the moment. It still fluctuates, even though it's been on the discount side of it for a really long time.
I think this comment by Magic Carpet Ride, the liquidity on those, the liquidity on those tokens is very low. So I think if anyone's buying them or selling them, they are going to push the price quite a bit, and that's probably the reason why it's come back quite a lot. That Desi came back quite a lot because it wouldn't take much to move that ratio back. So
Stakehouse solves this.
Stakehouse is going to have to come on not HEX when you're going to have to come on not HEX and explain it, or you could explain
I was about to say,
I
didn't realize that it was different. I thought it was doing a similar thing, but it was just more flexible in terms of the input parameters.
I think it's doing it with NFTs.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's doing the same thing with NFTs. Or when I say the same thing, it's different, isn't it?
I'm surprised you haven't already had tie on to not HEX.
Well, it hasn't released yet, has it?
But you guys could do a whole episode where he just goes through all of the different stuff they're doing, like Barista and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's not HEX?
That's the show that 43 and Bluey host to do things that are topics that are not.
Bluey's Bluey's on hiatus at the moment because we did like eight or 9 or 10 episodes, and
really, holy shit,
Bluey went and what did Bluey do? He's doing something. He's got and we can't. The reason is that he can only do it he can't do it during the week. He can only do it on the weekend. And I can't do it on the weekend, unfortunately. My weekends are usually pretty difficult, hard for me to jump on a stream. So that's why we're not streaming not Hex at the moment. But once Bluey is back, we'll get back on it.
And why haven't you got your camera on? 43 OG nowadays. What's going on? Have you had a haircut, grown a beard or something?
No, it's just because in the location I'm in, the lighting is very poor and the cam is not a good quality. And I've been having like some internet issues. So, I still put my camera on when we do the, like when I'm on the happy hour show. So Tangent was on the happy hour show on Friday.
How did you get that? How do you get that EQ? On. Like the sound shit.
OBS.
Oh.
It's an OBS
like a
little tinkering in the OBS.
Oh, that's cool.
It's there's different I think because we are always, or it might just be me, I'm always talking over people. I think if people see the equalizer, you guys will know to shut the fuck up.
It's a tiny bit delayed for me.
Yeah. I think that might be but
it helps.
Actually, I'm not sure why I've got the delay. Could be.
I thought it was just
headphones.
like a decoration anyway, so I don't think you're supposed to really care, right?
Yeah, it's decoration. That's all it is.
I love that jumper, Tangent. So cool.
This is a Tangang.
I know. It suits you.
Yeah, I got a lot of comments on it. So I wore it just to rep the Tangang when I went to a music festival, not realizing that people love that shit. Like, because it was one of those like hippie-ish music festivals, like out in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I'm normally completely inappropriately dressed for. Like, I'll be the only person there not wearing like flowy, super colorful shit. Like, I'll just rock up with what I'm normally wearing, which is like city boy shit. And this time, I guess people thought that I was dressed, because obviously it's a love heart, which is like part of the vibe, right? Like for those sorts of.
I love it.
People were like, "Oh, that's so cool and shit," and I was like, "Oh yeah, this kind of does fit," because I normally put like zero attempt in fitting in with dress codes. I just wear whatever the fuck I want. So yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good. I really like it.
It suits you.
Thanks.
Have you guys got like a store for all that merch, all the orange merch stuff?
Yeah, there's merch links. It's online. So my videos, I put the merch links in the videos, which is, so the designs are like that. The design that's on that clock behind me, there's the official HOA logo is one of the designs. There's some chick wearing a bikini with HOA like written behind her. There's maybe like one or two other ones, but there's some pretty cool designs. Pretty cool designs in there. I think there's like 5 or 6 different designs, but I've never actually been a fan of the official logo because it's like it's an orange that's been cut in the shape of a hexagon, and then it's like got like this leaf at the top of it. I don't know. It never stuck out to me as being like, I would have preferred that to have been the official logo. I think that's fucking dope. But yeah.
Hey, if I wanted to see the volume on PulseChain compared to the other chains, where would you go to find that data?
Deck Screener. So if you go dexscreener.com and then you just click, like, leave it so that it has all the chains.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be ranked by volume. So that gives you the first initial idea of which one has the most volume. ETH will obviously be at the top.
Before you choose the chain you want to look at, that's all on that front page.
Yeah, so like on dexscreener.com, you've literally got down one side is all the chains.
Yeah.
And if you
let me bring it up. Let me bring it up.
Share it. Yeah, we should just share it.
And so
that tells you. Oh, I just heard a little sound. I think someone might have just arrived. Oh, maybe not. What is
I think
that?
That was just my.
Oh, it's you bringing the screen up. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
It's you sharing a screen. And so see how that says 24-hour volume 1.1 billion? That's across all chains. And then if you click on individual chains, like if I click on ETH, it's going to say 487.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
You click on the left. And so at the moment, PulseChain is... Oh my God, PulseChain's getting fucking slaughtered. We're below a chain that I've never heard of before called Canto. What the fuck?
Really?
I've never even heard of this fucking chain. What the hell's going on?
Me neither.
What the shit, bro?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th.
Oh, we're not even in the top 10. Oh, that hurts. Oh.
So,
what the fuck?
These aren't just EVMs, are they? These aren't EVM because Osmosis is not EVM.
No, Solana's not an EVM. I don't think. This just must be any chain that has a DEX that they can scrape, I guess.
So it must be Turing, like it must be Turing complete.
Sui, I don't think is EVM.
Because there's no BTC. Like it's interesting that's got everything except BTC.
Yeah, BTC is not on there. It doesn't because it doesn't have
Monero.
It
looks like it's just.
It has to have a DEX.
Maybe it's just Turing complete.
Yeah, you have to have a DEX. Like you have to be able to have a DEX on the chain. Like it has to be a smart contract blockchain.
Magic Carpet Ride is saying that doesn't show fucks. DEX screener.
Yeah, but then you could make the same argument for the other chains as well, right? Like if they can't do fucks, then that means on EVM they can't do balancer and so like everyone is handicapped by the same amount. If assuming that all these chains, most chains would have
levels out.
Yeah, I think so. Unless for our chain, if that's a disproportionately high usage DEX, which maybe it is, because it probably is actually the second most used after PulseX. Fux is probably has the second most volume. But this is bad. Like, I can't believe there's a chain I've never heard of Canto. I've never heard of that chain before tonight. And it has beaten us on volume. What the actual
Come on, bro.
Right?
Canto Swap. You've never heard of Canto Swap?
No. Have you?
No.
So we're under 10 mil volume. What the fuck, bro? I do that much volume myself. This has to be wrong. What the fuck?
We need the Atropa system to get up and boogie.
This has got to be bullshit. Like, that's literally the kind of volume that a single person could do in a day. Like, right? If you would... What the hell? Have they worked out some way to, like, cut out the ARB bots or something? Because that's weird, hey?
Yeah, I know.
Saying Teddy only did like 366K of volume. Didn't that used to be like in the mils?
It was. Yeah, it was.
Man, I'm going to write a very strongly worded letter to the manager.
Go. Tangent Karen. Is that your middle name?
At least it's
not. I should be Hex Karen. I'll change my handle to Hex Karen. In fact, I have. Oh my god, I'm Hex Karen. Oh my god, holy shit, I'm Hex Karen. What the fuck? Damn it! I'm the one that writes the fucking letters to the manager, and then you know how that became my thing, where like I'll write the letter to the manager, so I'll be like, I'll tag the fucking the website or the protocol that hasn't included PulseChain. And I'll write a big thing about how they should include PulseChain, and then I get everyone to fucking co-sign the petition by saying, guys, engage. Let's get the engagement up on this so that they have to pay attention. I'm fucking Hex Karen. What the
you
fuck?
are?
I'm Hex Karen.
Dude, Ethereum proof of work is $2,500 in 24 hours. Fucking wrecked.
Wait, which
really?
What was that?
Ethereum power.
Proof of work.
Oh shit.
$2,500 in 24 hours. An ETH fair.
Well, I mean,
$891.
Yeah, but
in 24 hours.
At that low, it means I could just go on there and like fucking like wash trade it up to like you know what I mean?
At that point, why are they even doing it? Like, why don't they just turn off all their fucking validators and just fucking go home at that point?
I'm mining it.
What are they even like? Well, ETH proof of work, why don't they turn off the miners and go the fuck home?
Why don't they just start building on the chain and build the chain up rather than abandon it and make
why don't you fucking go home? No, man.
No, $2,500. No, guys, $2,500 in 24 hours.
It's a single trade.
Why would you even leave a machine? Why would you leave your miners on?
It's a 1 ETH. So Cookies was talking about how most people on ETH, when they buy a shitcoin, like when they buy, not even aping in, just when they just buy a small bag, it'll be like a couple ETH. So one degen making one buy outweighs the entire chain's volume. Yeah, that's fucked. You know what really fucked ETH proof of work up, which is disappointing because I liked the idea of having a proof of work version of Ethereum staying operational just in case like censorship happened real hardcore. These critical infrastructure items that you need to get certain things to work that no one ever built, like no one. So we'll never have that problem on PulseChain. Anything that's like of critical infrastructure, someone's always going to step up and do it. They already have.
True.
But remember how like it broke a lot of the, like it prevents a lot of the DeFi from flourishing if you don't have like the critical infrastructure. Was it subgraph or some shit was one of the things that you need and they don't have? Probably oracles. There was just a bunch of shit that people tried. I think Bob Lagai and Red Squirrel and stuff were trying, and even remember some of the guys like I think it was either the Maximus guys or the Hedron guys were saying that if they get time and enough free resources, they would actually start to run the shit that's required, but they either didn't get time or they were too heavily prioritizing PulseChain or whatever. And I think the other thing that fucked it was the bull market didn't come fast enough. If the bull market had come in earlier, it could have saved it just by like once prices are going up, everyone's hype and shit. But I think just the elongation of the sideways and the and all of those other things that I mentioned just kind of fucking fucked it. Shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
It's not dead. I shouldn't make it sound like it's fucking over. It's not dead, but
no, it's not over.
43's right. That's completely fucked.
Oh, it is bad. It's ghosted.
I mean, it's the worst time to be checking on it. It's the worst time to be checking on it. I mean, even ETH Classic was only like 6 or 7K in 24 hours.
Yeah, that's a good
Classic.
point. That it's like literally bottom signals galore, right? Like we're at the fucking giga bottom of sentiment. we've been in a bull market all year, but the sentiment is fucking bottoming now. And
I don't think we're coming back anytime soon, guys.
To
be honest,
I'm
I hate to piss on the parade or whatever.
I'm still on the
Did you see Magic Carpet?
I'll give you my reasoning why.
I think we already covered it on a previous episode.
Did we?
I think so.
Well, let's cover it again.
Did you see Magic Carpet Ride's comment about HEX and ETH Power? It's weird because I know that I unstaked on ETH Power and, got some money out of it.
I round tripped the bag on ETH Proof of Work. I never took any
bought
money
my bag. You bought my bag.
I round tripped the bag. Like, as in I made money on paper and then just held it all, and I don't even know what it's on at the moment.
So those fucking Einsteins over there, the only community that actually gave a fuck about ETH Power was the HEX community. So they decided to flag it as a scam. What a bunch of
Did they?
What a bunch of they've look, you can't stake it or unstake it apparently.
What the hell?
I don't know how that.
I don't know if that's true. I'm pretty sure Hedron made a Hedron works last.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it might just be Hex.com doesn't work. I don't think Hex.com works.
Or it did. Oh, it happened 2 months ago. Okay.
Huh. That's weird.
Really smart of them, hey? Really smart of them.
The one and only active protocol where there was actually a community that went over there. That would be like PulseChain. That would be like, holy shit. That would be like PulseChain adding a farm and getting like only one community to come over and then removing that farm and fucking over the one community that decided to come over. Holy shit.
I know, right? Hey, Tim Top said it's not true. He just unstaked and restaked.
I didn't think that sounded legit. I didn't think that sounded legit.
Boomer. It's because Magic Carpet Ride's a boomer.
Ty, who are you calling a boomer, bro? We are very similar ages, man. I don't know how old you are, but I know that you're older.
He's older than me.
No, guys. The term boomer is now used whenever you're just like not elite on the tech. Like, so anyone is able to be a boomer. I'm often a boomer
compared to my kid on the tech.
But yeah, no, I think so Tin Top just confirmed. As long as you're using it through the Hedron website, it all works fine. Yeah. I think people just panic when they can't use the hex.com one. So yeah, look, all I'm going to say on the matter is if you guys see that volume spike up, it's definitely not me wash trading HEX. And so it would be so easy to move, like, because all of the ones above it are like within a few K. Like you said, so you could actually overtake Ethereum Classic.
Do you know what could kick off?
The fees are nearly zero.
A bit more FOMO. You know what could kick off a bit more
pumps?
Like if something in the macro, like some shit in the macro happens that would traditionally be very bad for legacy markets, but it results in like a pump in crypto, like it does that asymmetric shit, where it's not following like the traditional thing.
Well,
if something like that happens, that could kick off like a crypto run, because people like, oh shit, people like aren't putting their money into legacy stuff, but they are putting their money into crypto. That's what this shit was made for.
PulseChain has been fucking pumping its nut off.
Inverse correlation. That's what I meant to say.
But isn't it good that chat is coming out with their truths, calling themselves boomer? Look, we've got one's a proud boomer, one's a Tangang boomer, I think it's good to get it out of your system, admit you're a boomer. Even Par Excellent is a boomer in some way.
A boomer, yes. A male kangaroos.
Oh, look at the Atropa system. The Atropa system brought so much, so many transactions into the PulseChain ecosystem. We were killing it when Atropa was booming.
Yeah, why is it not doing its thing?
I know. Well, a dev came out from the Atropa system. Apparently, she's like this really smart mathematician, or she or he. Did you hear about anything about that?
Bearish. The mystery was getting everyone all fucking foamed up. Like so you know what I mean?
Yeah, but do you know the story? Because I never heard it. I never heard the interview.
I heard only what you just said. That
really?
That someone heard that one of the devs like had made some kind of contact, like made some kind of communication.
Yes, they have. I think it was, I don't know, it was through GitHub or through some video, but there was a dev for the Atropa system and went by the name of something like Mary or something. And basically said that, well, apparently they're like, yeah, because they proved it by sending some money from the contract address to someone. And but apparently this person's like real freaking smart, like a mathematician level smart. And was also saying that, you know, Atropa, Bear, and P-Dye are going to like kick the PulseChain in the butt and like go crazy. So I was quite bullish, and I haven't watched it. I'm gonna watch B Roots' video at some stage in the next 24 hours. I didn't get time to watch them all, but B Roots explains it in his video.
So Sammy, do you give that thing the thumbs up?
What?
What's it called? That Atropa thing?
Atropa. I'm just saying, do your own research, but it brought a lot of volume to PulseChain, which is good.
So you give it the thumbs up?
I don't give any.
You don't know. You don't care.
Don't take my advice. I nearly failed high school.
Sammy's smart. She didn't fall for that trap.
As dumb as rags to riches. But
what about you, Tangent? What do you think about it?
Wait, Sammy just gave the answer. Like Sammy just you think Sammy's gonna skirt around the trap, and then I'm just gonna walk straight into it.
You're gonna walk straight into it. I know nothing about it.
I hear about
I've been listening to people bang on about it. I got nothing bad or nothing good to say about it. I know nothing about it whatsoever.
Yeah, my only comment earlier was like, if you don't know who the devs are, it's difficult to know whether. I went to a pretty extreme example and said, you could be funding a certain country that people use as the country that you don't want to fund, right? They actually reckon that a lot of DeFi, especially the scams, go to funding this particular nation. And it's like, you don't know that you're not doing that if you don't know what the thing is doing. But if you want to speculate on it, you can. I think it was the gift and the curse in terms of the mystery made people intrigued and got engagement, but then it also made it hard to assess whether it was legit or not.
But it's the biggest.
So you can spoof transactions. Crypto. You can spoof transactions, apparently.
I just read that from Par HEX. I'm lucky there's someone really smart in this group. But I mean, how degen is it to pump the fake P-Dye version? That's just so degen, and it was people did really well on it. And I think that's amazing effort. I think it's something special and it's a lot of fun too.
Hey, so could that send from spoof thing, could that be used as a privacy strategy? So that you send tokens and make it look like it came from somewhere else?
Probably not, dude.
Why not?
Because deeper in, it's just like.
Oh, so only enough to trick someone if they're not looking at it carefully.
If you're not looking deep. I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that's what it is, because you would need to. If it was that easy.
Yeah, that sounds legit.
What I mean? If it was that easy, wouldn't they just that be implemented in heaps of shit? You would just make the send from address a null address for everything, and then that would just solve the privacy problem.
Oh, and you would also break the ability to audit the chain if people could just lie about where the shit came from. And
it's just like, you know how you can relatively easily spoof emails, right? I can like, whatever your email address is, I can just like send from your email address, you know?
Yes. I heard that they're trying to fix that, but previously, yes, you can make it look, but you can't actually change it if you look at where it was sent from.
If you look at the email header,
you can make it look like it came from it.
Yeah. So if you look at the email header, if you go look at the details in the email header, you'll see where it's actually coming from. And that's just like one way to check if, you know, an email address is a scam address.
He's saying it only works with contracts that are so the contract has to already be designed for you to be able to do that fuckage. You can't just randomly do it on like regular shit. Block explorers can't tell the difference. What the fuck? Damn. That's fucking wild. Yeah, wild. Wild, bro. Oh. Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. You look as tired as I feel.
Full disclaimer, I've got like absolutely micro dust bags of some of these Atropa coins. But there's actually a farm. There's actually a farm that started off high yield, but as most of these farms go, dropped off pretty quickly. The yields are still like not that bad, but they dropped fast. And it's all the Atropa pairs.
You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait for massive green candles and not having to talk about any other tokens apart from HEX and PulseChain, because that's the only shit that's pumping. And everything else will pump after it. But
dude, I can't wait for...
I'm waiting for that shit.
It just fixes
We've been waiting for so long.
It's just a fix all.
It's been 2 years. Bro, 2 years. Hey, what do you think?
Wait, 2 years. 2 years since when? The HEX top?
Pretty much, maybe a bit longer. Yeah, 2 years and something. So it's been 25 months, 26 months.
Dude, for literally for months and months and months now, when people are like, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer or whatever. And I've been like, fuck no, I'm not waiting for my heli yacht. Hell no. Like I've been refusing to wait for this market for a really long time now. Yeah, so November 21 was the second Bitcoin top. So you're right that basically next month it will have been 2 years since and some people think that the top was actually the first top, like that the second top was not a real top.
I was going off the HEX. I was going off the HEX top, which was like September.
You know what? Let's split the difference and go halfway and just say, because I think there was some black swan that happened in there that fucked it. July 21. Oh man, what a fucking disaster! What an absolute disaster!
What would you guys do if in 2 years' time you're not fucking rich?
Well,
you're not if you're not driving around in a Lambo in 2 years, what are you going to be doing instead?
I geared my shit up. I geared all my shit up for bear market shit. So like LPs, yield farming, like all that shit. So like I'd be pissed, but I wouldn't be poor. Like as in, like, do you know what I mean? Like everything. I want the fucking pumps. Like, Do you know what I mean? Like, I want the pumps for more reasons than just getting a Lambo. But yeah, I just think that's very unlikely, though. Like, I think that's super, super unlikely.
Yeah, but I think it's a possibility.
You're not driving around in a Lambo.
I think it's a reality that we've all looked at over the last few months when shit hit the fan with Gary Guzler, and but crypto is designed to make a lot off a little, and it's a game of intuition. So regardless of what's going on, you've got to remember that, and you can make money in crypto. You gotta find the good stuff and be on the money, and you can do it.
Yeah, Sammy's absolutely right. There's decent opportunity. There's decent opportunity if you keep an eye out and you keep trying. So you don't actually. Yeah, so it's really important to note that the most critical thing in crypto is identifying what regime you're in and then adjusting your strategy accordingly. And so, yeah, if you're in some sort of prolonged forever sideways market, then you just have to make sure that your strategy works for that type of market.
I know what I'm going to buy when we get green dildos. So do you guys ever stumble across those YouTube videos where people just walk down, like people will find a house that's all overgrown and the lawns just all over the place, and they're like, hey, they knock on the door and they're like, oh yeah, hey, I'll cut your lawn for nothing. And I don't know why I've watched any of these, but for some reason I've found it compelling.
Don't tell me you're going to do
watched them. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to get myself one of those stand-on lawnmowers. These guys have these lawnmowers where they stand on them and they've got like remote controls, like joysticks from the arcades, and they drive them around like that. And they're just standing on these lawnmowers, just mowing lawns. I want one of those fucking things. Those things are so cool. They look like
how much are they? 43.
It doesn't matter how much they are, Sammy. That's the whole point.
Sammy, we don't look at price tags in the bull market.
I'm sure you'll be able to afford one.
That's a bear market question. Yeah, so I'm down. We can, whatever it's called.
I don't even want to be that rich. Tangent, remember, anything over 100 million is charity. Like, seriously, what? After I get a nice car, a nice house, give away some money, the rest is charity. Like, it's not that exciting, especially when you're old.
That's a good policy. That's a good policy.
You know what I mean?
I would maybe modify that policy a little bit, that it's anything over 100 million is charity, as long as you've got a fair portion of it in something that is not crypto. So if you had 100 million crypto and you give the rest away, and then everything goes bear market, goes down 99%, then you've got $1 million.
Yeah,
you've got $1 million, and you're like, fuck, I gave away billions. Fuck, and now I've got $1 million.
Not staked well. Real money in the bank. Yeah, you gotta look after yourself. And that's why you got to learn.
If there were hexagons that had over 100 mil, or like around 100 mil, because we went down more than 90%, 99%, right? It was 99 point something.
Yeah. There was hexagons who were over 100 millions in the bull market in state wealth.
And then went down to
$5.
And now they're barely millionaires, yeah.
That's not the point.
That's so fucked. That's so fucked.
Welcome to crypto.
But crypto is like that, and I'm just not talking. Sorry, tangent.
No, you go.
Well, I mean, it's all crypto. Like, you can be a bazillionaire. This is whenever I get anyone in crypto, I say you can have $100,000, $10,000 one day. The next day it could be worth $1. Because it's absolutely so true. You just never know what's going to happen.
Someone said that there were only like 8 guys. that caused basically the entire fucking fuckage of the HEX price. There were basically 8 main sellers that just totally fucked the price from the top down to the bottom. I don't know how true that is. It's just something that someone said, that there was basically like 8 whales that were early HEX investors that just absolutely fucked the price. And maybe that's why Richard said that time, like, maybe stop selling. Remember how? If you guys don't want the fucking price to keep going down, then just maybe stop selling it.
Yeah, I remember that. But I think there's a few hexagons.
It was inevitable. It was going to go down.
That have made light of that situation. That there is a few that are doing not so good stuff. They were not doing great stuff in HEX and not doing great stuff in PulseChain. Good stuff for them and them only, but not so good for everyone else around them. And Richard knows that. And that's why I had the silly whale penalty and stuff like that, because he knows what whales do and can do to price. And sorry, Magic Car Prize says ETH Fair. It was ETH Fair that blocked HEX, not ETH Power.
Oh, I was never really on that chain anyway.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when a very small, group of people fuck the price that badly. I think it was going to happen anyway. All of crypto went down, so it was going to happen. But and look, honestly, that's what we're sort of playing in. We're playing in an ecosystem that can happen, and it does happen, and it's happened multiple times. It happens the majority of the time. The majority of every coin that's ever been made goes down a lot.
Yeah, but I thought there was a reasonable narrative, and I thought most people in HEX agreed there was a reasonable narrative for it to be more bear market resistant than average altcoins.
I don't agree.
Because of the staking. So that was and the OA diamond handing. I thought that was a reasonable narrative that was justifiable, and it just got fucked. Like, it just got absolutely fucked.
I don't agree.
So maybe we have to adjust our thesis. Like, so we thought that might be the case, that it would be less volatile. But looking at seeing what we've seen, could it be that it's more volatile? Could that, like, did we maybe go the wrong way? Because I don't know if volatile everything that's left over, everything that's left over, we're gonna see in the next run how far it goes up, right? If it goes up a lot, then it's just more volatile.
I guess if you're talking on a very, very, very large time scale, then it technically is volatility. But I wouldn't call it volatility, because volatility implies whereas this is just down. Like, but if you're looking on a really long time scale, then technically, this is all volatility. Like the highs and lows of the cycles could be called volatility, but it's the downside price action. So our investment thesis was definitely incorrect. Like, anyone who had the investment thesis that the staking was going to help prevent how deep the retracement happened in the bear market was wrong. Like, as in
that was wrong.
And so, do we need to revise the thesis? Yes.
Listening to you guys talk, and I always thought you guys were just way overzealous about HEX price during the bear, but sometimes HEX price surprises
me. Why didn't you tell us? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you could have jumped in there, Sammy.
Wait,
I was hoping that you're right. You know, you guys are smarter than me at crypto.
And we you wouldn't have been able to stop us. Like, as in, you would have been like, "Hey guys, I think this is dangerous," and we would have been like, "No, Sammy, we're going. It's all good. It's all good."
But hey, I never thought that HEX would hit 50 cents, in the bull market either. So,
Yes.
But I'll be really disappointed if HEX doesn't make a new all-time high this run.
Agree.
And I mean, look, even if both chains combined, make an all-time high together, I'll be happy. But
I've got a bet against Satoshi that that one of the two hexes will make an all-time high solo, not combined, against Bitcoin. So if you're worried that Hex might not make a new all-time high in dollar terms, then I would definitely lose that bet. Because if it doesn't do it in dollars, it's definitely not doing it in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is going to go up. Well, actually, sorry, we don't know that for sure. Theoretically, Bitcoin could go up and not make a new all-time high as well against dollars. So I shouldn't have said that.
I'd be surprised, dude.
That would be shocking, but I'm saying it's possible. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to the 80K mark and stalls there. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, dude.
I'm just saying that anything's possible, right? Like theoretically, it could just go down to zero, or like go up a bit or just go sideways forever. Like, but if we assume that Bitcoin will make a new all-time high in dollar terms, then the bet that I've got against Satoshi means Hex doesn't just have to go back up to its fucking ATH in dollar terms. It's got to go much higher than that to actually beat Bitcoin.
But Stephen's comment is right about the whole ecosystem getting spread out over Hedron, Maximum, PulseChain, PulseX. Imagine if it was just Hex and Hex alone. And I mean, Ethereum put a stop to that. But I mean, there was too much going everywhere else.
I wouldn't count the derivatives, because remember that Hex got burnt into stakes to make those coins. So
and also Hedron,
I wouldn't count those ones.
Was an airdrop.
That took Hex.
Yeah, no. I mean, I love Hedron, know that, but what I'm saying is there's just too many choices.
I agree partially with the statement. I just think the examples were like the wrong examples. They were probably examples that were probably the least detrimental to Hex. I think it was all the sacks that people did. All the sacks drained a lot of economic energy, and that probably includes Richard's ones as well. Like, and yeah.
But
I
guys,
agree with Klaz. I want a chateau.
What did she say? Oh,
I want a chateau.
I need one too, Klaz. I think we all need some.
Like on like in the French Alps.
But you know what I think happens in a bull market? And this is just my theory, and I heard someone else say it before, who also predicted the price of, I think at the time, I can't remember the coin, but they predicted it to go over $1, and it actually did from like bugger all of a cent. And I can't remember the coin, but so this guy was saying that every bull run, all the big dudes like billionaires in crypto who make their money in crypto, they come into the market, they buy up like the whole market, and they know they're gonna like do at least a 10x on their wealth, and they all get together, or they all just basically know that this is the time to put all their money in, and this is how all the coins pump. This is how Bitcoin pumps and that.
But if that was the case, you wouldn't see these like epic funds blow ups and people getting blown up and people getting wrecked and shit. I think even so, having insider information or rolling in like a whale group and shit like that, it definitely helps. It gives you an edge, but it does not immunify you against getting wrecked. So
I agree.
It just gives you an unfair advantage over everyone else, but you can still get fucked. You can still end up getting wrecked.
I agree.
Just to answer this question, someone said, why not learn how to get out responsibly? When you are in the bull market, you cannot see the future. So Hex is an excellent example where it did a 10,000x. And if someone got out at if someone did like a 20x and then was like, this probably doesn't have much more legs, and got the fuck out, then they would have missed like the majority of the run. Even just starting to scale out at a 20x would have significantly fucked their overall gains if you're scaling out shit like that. So this sort of question it's like it's this hindsight naivety that you could have somehow known how the shit was going to play out. You've got no fucking idea. You've got no idea what coins are going to do what pumps and shit like that.
Good point, Tianjin.
If it was as easy as like learning how to get out responsibly, then everyone would do it. Like particularly people who have been in multiple cycles, if it was something that you could learn, people would learn it. But instead, you hear more stories of people round tripping bags and just getting reverse wrecked and shit like that. Almost everyone either gets out too early or too late. It's really difficult, and it's a lot more difficult than it sounds.
And that's what Richard Hart says. Timing the market is nearly impossible for even the most experienced traders.
Yes. Yeah. I guess so. Yeah, let's look at that a little bit more deeply, right? Because it's like there was an attitude in HEX that was like, well, if you're staking for 5555, then why do you give a fuck what the price is doing now, right? You should only care at the end of the 15 years, right? And the answer is that most people put a lot of time, effort, and money into creating ladders that would come out at regular intervals that they could use to like live off the interest and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And if for 2 years of that ladder that you've set up, the shit that comes out is fuck all, worth absolutely fuck all, in not just the interest, like because the idea with the ladders was you take the interest, you live off the interest, and then you put the capital back in to another lat and extend that beyond that 15 years. So if you have stakes ending and not only is the interest not enough to live on, but now the fucking actual capital's worth fuck all as well, then the whole thing becomes a shit show, because then people have to sell more than what they thought they were going to have to sell to sort of meet that requirement. And yeah, so
I think that's a reality you got to face in HEX, and we've been through this bear cycle with HEX, that there's going to be a long time where that ain't going to be worth shit in dollars amounts, but because you're staking, you're getting that yield and you're getting more coins. So be prepared. You know, if you're thinking about doing a ladder to live off, that might not be the best thing to do. I mean, if you can, fantastic, but remembering that it's more about getting that crypto and, you know, growing that crypto bag for the next bull run in a lot of those case scenarios, or you're going to sell it dirt cheap.
I remember Sam Stoll asked me this question on one of Jim Rat Crypto's streams, where he said, I'm thinking about, I don't know, it was like selling a house or some shit and like putting it all into like HEX ladders, and I've done the calculation and I can live off the interest and blah, 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 blah. And I said exactly what I just said. I'm like, dude, there is an assumption there that like you're not taking into account the potential for the price to go down. So your calcs will be incorrect if the price goes down. So
yeah, that's you certainly cannot bank on a USD price of any crypto. You cannot. I mean, that goes without saying. I think HEX is very clearly, by its design, it's very long term in its nature. It was designed to be a long term thing. So you know, as Bitcoin was extremely volatile in its first few years and continues to be volatile, but that has lessened over the years. My expectation is, as with all, you know, the bigger cryptos, they become less volatile over the long term. So, you know, that is seems to be the case with Ethereum as well. You know, its drawdown has not been as far down as it was in the last cycle. What did it do? It did 1,400, and then it went down to 100 or 80. Like it did a massive drawdown. But in this cycle, it was what did it get to? About 5,000. and it dropped down to 800 very briefly, but it's been sitting very nicely above 1,500, 1,600. Between between $1,500 and 2,000. So it's hard to say what HEX will do in the future. It's always hard to look forward and make any sort of prediction. We can't really do that. What we can do is just look at the other big cryptos, and assuming HEX can make it back. I mean, if it does, that's going to give it a lot of credibility. If it can make it back from where it's been, like how far down it got. If it can make it back, it's going to give it a lot of credibility, a lot more credibility to the mainstream crypto people. And I would make an assumption based on what I've seen in other long-term cryptos, that its downward volatility will be lessened as time goes on. So whilst this staking strategy, maybe we were a little bit, ahead of our time, with the short-term stakes, but those longer-term stakes might really work out as to be, things that you can live on down the track, especially with the amount of interest that people are going to be getting in those full-term 10-year stakes. I think from memory, the maxi or maybe the deci ones, they're expecting a 4 or 5x of the HEX that you put in. So that's already saving you from the price going down by 4 or 5x, right? So at least if the price went down 4 or 5x and then it's increasing by 4 or 5x in terms of HEX, then at the end of that 10 years, you'd be breaking even, right? But we don't expect that over the long term. We don't expect the price to go down over such a long period of time. So I think that, it is still quite early. We're almost 4 years in, but it's still early days. And it's very easy to be very, where we are in the cycle, sentiment-wise, it's very easy for us to be, down on the future of, HEX or any crypto. But I think once the next cycle plays out,
dude, you sound super muffled now.
Yeah, you're muffling out.
Like as in can barely hear you.
Really?
Just your last sentence, your last sentence, it just went like worse and
I must have been talking over the top of the mic.
Yeah, okay.
Look,
so
my entire the next one plays out. I think when the next cycle plays out, as the bull plays out, the bull run plays out, I think we're going to be in a better position to see what's going to happen moving forward with HEX. Yeah. You go on, man.
My entire bet with Satoshi is effectively to do with this, that it's basically because HEX fucking shagged the dog on the narrative of being bear market resistant. The only thing it can do it can't reclaim that narrative, but it can it can join a very small group of coins to ever outperform Bitcoin in a secondary cycle. And which is I think there's only 3 or 4 coins in that group. And I'm confident that it will. That's what my bet against Satoshi is. And if it doesn't, it's not a financial bet, it's a reputational bet, where if it doesn't do it, I have to publicly state, probably in a tweet and in a Twitter space, that HEX is no better than any other garbage ass altcoin that's ever come before it. And that would obviously probably get me unfollowed by Richard Hart if I said that. But I'm going to have to do it, and I'll keep my word. Because, I mean, ultimately, in my opinion, that's true. On what you've just said? That will be true. If it can't, every other...
Well, can I make a couple of comments?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to comment on what you've said there.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't think, like, obviously I would like, so that statement that you promised to make, if HEX did not outperform Bitcoin, if HEX didn't actually outperform Bitcoin in this
then
run,
that would actually be my
but
genuine
only
opinion. Like that's why I made the bet.
Yes, but only but underperformed it by a little bit, by 5%, right? So the point I'm trying to make is that,
are you saying
no, but the point I want to make is that whether or not you but the point I want to make is whether or not you actually go ahead and have to follow through on the bet does not necessarily make it a true statement.
So
it would just be your opinion. Are you saying
there's basically like
and it might just
zone, like a zone where we should have called it a draw or something? Is that what you're saying?
No. I mean, you made the bet, so
it's possible. It's that's possible how it plays that maybe out, there should have been a draw zone. I'm just like, so that if it got within a certain percentage but didn't technically beat it, or if it beats it by only by a small amount or something like that, that effectively giving a buffer zone for each of us, so that it's only a loss. But dude, I think it's very unlikely that it's going to do that. It's either going to absolutely fucking obliterate it,
I agree,
or completely just fade out and not make it anywhere nearby. Like, I think the chances of it landing in that, like it topping out with basically a double top against Bitcoin price compared to the last cycle high is super unlikely, like super fucking unlikely.
The other thing I wanted to pick up on what you said, how you said that narrative is gone of
bear market resistant,
bear market proof. I actually don't think that is entirely true, or I don't think we can rule it out for future. And the reason I say that is because in future, right, if HEX does keep doing this, if it comes back and does the cycles and does become less volatile, like Bitcoin has become less volatile, like Ethereum has become less volatile, if that continues to play out, and I'm talking over the long term, let's say in 10 years from now, you might actually, like the yield you get from your long-term stakes might actually make up for like the downside.
But,
you know, if the volatility is less, when it's a 99% draw or 98% drawdown, it can't, right? It's just, it can't.
I think we've talked about this before. My problem with that is that you're going to have such a small data set, and one of the points will always be a fail. So it kind of needed to never fuck that up for you to even have a chance of being able to play that narrative. Because even in 10 years time, that's what, like, you're going to have 2 more data points, and it's like, or one or two more data points. It's like longer. One failed and one didn't. So now you're like, oh, well,
it might take
kind
longer.
of a coin flip now.
I said 10 years, but maybe it's longer than 10 years. Maybe it's 15. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe it's longer. And you know, if this is the thing, like, if Bitcoin is around in another 15 years, if Ethereum's around in another 15 years, then I think there's a decent argument to be made that PulseChain could be around for another 15 years, and so will HEX. As long as Ethereum's around, HEX will be around. That's for sure. So
okay. As long as on these subsequent things, it actually goes down less than Bitcoin for multiple cycles. So it can't just be less than this one, because this one was a total shit show. It was like over 99%. So it can't just be better than this time. It has to be better than Bitcoin. That would be the benchmark for the next bear market. If HEX can do that, then I would give it some credibility.
I don't think it needs to be, the drawdown needs to be less than Bitcoin in the next market.
Otherwise, it's just another.
I think that's an arbitrary. No, I think that's an arbitrary thing that you're putting in there.
No,
and
it's
if
not.
that
It's
doesn't
because
it just has to be better than this one.
No.
And as long as it's tracking better. So if you really wanted to compare to Bitcoin, you would say, well, how much
I'll
better
tell you why it matters
from its first drawdown?
I'll tell you why I think it matters.
No, but can I just say this point and then you tell me why you think it matters? You would measure the difference between the first drawdown and then the second drawdown of Bitcoin. What was the difference percentage?
None of that
between
those two. Matter, though.
And then
the thing that
but
matters
if you want to
is
measure
what
between
people
the two,
choose as their flight to safety in the bear market if they want to maintain some crypto exposure in the bear market. And as long as Bitcoin is outperforming during bear markets, then people won't look to other shit. They'll just go to Bitcoin. So it has to outperform Bitcoin to be taken seriously as a bear market, like as a bear market hedge at all, like a bear market exposure hedge at all. Because otherwise people just go to stables.
So you wouldn't entertain the idea, but you wouldn't entertain the idea that could take like a couple of cycles for it to get to Bitcoin's level. It might take a couple of cycles to get there. It's like not going to happen like just in one cycle, bang, and it's
yeah. I agree that it might take more than one more cycle, but I'm still also saying that until it does,
as long as it's catching up,
until it does, it won't be
as long as it's catching up,
like as a bear market asset.
But the very nature of it, like if it is catching up, then it is getting taken more seriously. Like it's like it is not everyone takes it more seriously. If it took over, then yeah, everyone's going to take it more serious, way more serious. Like the vast majority of people in crypto would. But if it was able to start catching up on that metric along the way, like to getting there, then by the very fact that it's catching up means that people are taking it more seriously. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to disagree on this one. Like, as in, I get what you're saying. I'm just not, for me personally, that isn't enough. Like, as in, so I don't specifically disagree with what you're saying. That it's an improvement or whatever, or that it's getting closer to what it. But I'm just saying until it gets there. So yeah, it might take more than one. It might take more than just the next cycle. So it doesn't have to do it next cycle. But until it does, it's not going to.
You know, when you're watching,
it's not doing it.
Like the Melbourne Cup, and you've got these horses, and you're on like they're running around. You see a horse at the back of the pack, and it's catching up. It hasn't caught up yet, but you see it moving through the pack. Right. So yeah, you can't say that horse is going to win, but you see it's going in the right direction. So if in the next cycle we saw that sort of improvement and it was improving against Bitcoin, then I think we could say, well, this is a good sign. It doesn't say like anything. It doesn't give us any guarantees, but we could see that it's going in a direction, and maybe that would fill people full of confidence, and or maybe this is just one big cope.
But I think like you said, it would just be, you'd be like, oh, this is a sign it's going in the right direction. But for me, it would be like that doesn't mean it's got there yet, though. So maybe if I tell you that in a bear market, so. If people, because you never know like for sure that you're in a bear market, especially not at the early start, you effectively, the only reason why you would hold any crypto at all if you think that you could be in a bear market is because you want the exposure still there in case you're wrong about it being a bear market. So in that case, you want the asset that still gives you exposure to crypto without the like getting fucked 99% like most alts are going to occur, like, or most cryptos are going to get absolutely shagged.
The other reason you might want to stake longer is that you don't trust yourself to like manage the crypto well. So that's another reason why people might want to lock up something for like a few years, like 5 years, let's say. It's like I don't trust myself to not fumble this bag and come out of the bear market with like trade myself into oblivion in the bear market. At least I'm going to have this bag, which is accruing something in 5 years' time. Mathematically, it's going to be more because we know that every day it's accruing. And then at least I'll have that, and I'm taking the risk of the price because I don't know what the price is going to do.
People just EES, man. Like people just EES. So I don't think the staking actually really.
Like, you take a major haircut if you EES. You take a major haircut. Like that is, and look, that might be a haircut that you're willing to take. If you do over half of your stake.
Yeah, people did it. People absolutely nuked themselves.
All right, so, dude, I'm sure I might EES shit if HEX is $10. You know what I'm saying? Like I might EES some shit. Why? Because HEX is $10. Like I'll be happy to take a haircut.
But you're EESing on the upside. These guys were EESing on the downside.
Well, that's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? Like
heaps of people did it.
No, but yeah,
like,
but
I'm not saying it's smart. I'm just saying tons of people did it.
Yeah,
like you can see the stats. Like it happened a lot.
I'm like, if people EES, that's them EESing. Maybe they did it because they had to do it. Like maybe they were in too deep and they had no choice. Maybe. But if they're panics, you like entered into a smart contract. You knew the dates. You put the dates in yourself.
Dude, I'm starting to lose track of what we're actually even what we're even disagreeing about. Like, as in,
I don't think
I'm still like, I just want to be real clear. I'm not talking about stake lengths and who's doing what or any of that shit. I'm just saying that for me personally, and I think for the general sentiment to be that for HEX to be considered a bear market hedge, it has to outperform Bitcoin to the downside. Like it can't just outperform itself from the previous cycle. That is my statement. Like I'm not.
Is that on liquid? So on liquid.
Yeah.
You will only consider HEX like if it's only a liquid bag. You wouldn't consider staked HEX to be in that equation.
On that sort of time frame, the interest is pretty fuck all. Like, as in, like the interest is small compared to these fluctuations when you're talking about like bull bear cycles. So I'm not talking about interest.
But
I'm ignoring interest because it's tiny.
But it's not, because 4 or 5 years is like doubling your bag.
Yeah, but all of it goes down. Like, as in. The whole bag goes down in value when the bear market comes. So I'm not counting the difference because then the math gets too complicated because it's like everyone's staking for different lengths and shit like that. I'm literally just talking about the price.
Yeah, okay, but what I'm saying is that then you totally ignore an important part of what HEX is.
But we're only looking over the period of it going down, like as in we're just looking at the fucking bear market, which might only be like less than a year. So how much interest is someone going to get? It's like 30% max, considering that it's that period. And then if usually things overshoot Bitcoin by like way more than that percentage, that would just crush that difference.
Do you know what? I mean? Do you know what's interesting, dude? It could be 30% or it could be way more. It could be way more, depending on how long you've had that staked for. You know, if we're talking a bear market that's in 3 years, 4 years from now, you could be talking about a bag that was staked and then you're making maybe 10, like 8 or 10, like 9 HEX per T-share. And it does get complex, but I guess the point of what I'm saying is that HEX is different and you get the yield from having it staked. And surely that needs to be thrown into the calculations somehow when you're talking about your downside risk like at the end when you unstake it, because you get more HEX at the end. So
yeah, the staking shit makes it a little bit harder to compare, because there needs to be an assumption there that you could have chosen what asset you want to be exposed to, and if you're staked, you can't. So like the idea is like what you would choose out of the two assets.
I would not like, so for me, if I'm going to compare Bitcoin and HEX, then they've got different attributes, but there's no way that I would agree to compare the two if I can't include the HEX staking in that comparison. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
How are you?
I'm the same thing. I'm just comparing two.
Hi guys, do you guys want to tie break this? Because I don't think 43 and I are getting anywhere with this.
I've come in on the tail end, so I don't know what I've missed.
I'm just saying that HEX is better than Bitcoin as per usual.
Yeah. Tell you what, so I've had a look at all yield-based strategies. We talked about last week, and I was talking that we can do. Everyone's hit me up to do videos, and hopefully I'll get around soon. Of all the yield strategies in our is pretty good. Like, zero risk to your bag in terms of losing your principal data. You can get slashed, or things can go wrong, and you can lose principal.
Yeah.
And you're getting 12 months on HEX now. Is that still about 12% or something?
12%, yeah.
Valid at the moment. So, and you've got
trustless yield, minimal risk,
minimum effort, minimum data. You've got
low effort, low risk.
You're looking after it, so there's not. So yeah, across things makes good sense still.
Yeah, I agree.
What I think people aren't actually getting, and it's not until 3 or 4 years down the track, is how teachers are going to be. And I don't think that's a lot of people aren't sort of taking that into account.
Oh, that reminds me, by the way, Jack. So that reminds me, I'm going to bring up a website. So just let me just bring that up. I'm going to bring up apex.win.
That's a funny comment. Jack's the streaming from Unwrecked house. Jack's the streaming from the 70s. You're a little bit distorted tonight, Jack.
Lol.
Hey, our house is 70s based.
Jexer, I think they're just purely talking about your res, man, not the decor.
They are. They're talking about your res, but mine's 70s too.
Jexer, what would be your minimum requirement to say, like, for you to say that HEX has become a bear market hedge? Does that question make sense? I'm trying to word it in a way that doesn't favor me getting the answer that I want. I'm trying to like make it so that you're more likely to do something that would actually, like, I'm trying to be generous, but it might make it so that the question's not very clear. Does that question make sense?
It'd be better. Can people hear me a bit better?
I think the res is actually looking better. I mean, you're a box about this big on my screen, so it's hard for me to. Let me just go over here.
Sorry, what was the question again, Tangent?
So, what would be the minimum requirement for you to believe that HEX can have a narrative of being like a bear market hedge, like a good asset to hold during a bear market?
After this last cycle, I don't asset can be put in that basket. I don't give like gold is shit. Like I don't.
Gold's fucking shit. Gold's like super shit.
There is no super safe.
You want to be cash.
Okay, so say let's say you're in what you think might be a bear market. It's likely to be a bear market, but you're not absolutely sure. So you don't want to have no exposure to crypto in case the thing just like turns around and goes moon bound. What like in that situation where you're like, this is likely a bear market, but it maybe not. So I want to maintain some crypto exposure. What are you holding? Don't say Cardano. What would you hold? Like, sorry. What would it take? What would HEX have to do to convince you to choose HEX over other options?
Man, that's a hard one, isn't it? I honestly can't give you a good answer. I'd have to have a bit of a think.
So what
if we don't? Yeah.
Like what would it have to do in the next bear for you to then consider it as a bear market hedge for the one after or something like that? Like as in.
So what Tangent had said is he had said that for him HEX would have to have less of a percentage drawdown than Bitcoin in the next cycle for that to achieve that. And the discussion we were having, I don't think it was necessarily a disagreement. I think it was just us talking it through. I was saying, well, I don't think it would happen in one cycle. I think if it was gonna happen, it might take 2 or 3 cycles, and it would happen over time, and maybe catch up over time. But that it was just a question.
It's like below its last all-time high. That's probably okay.
You mean all-time low?
No.
Oh.
High from a previous cycle. So.
Ooh.
I
didn't even think of that. Fuck.
But it depends how. Like if it jets off, it's a mess. But that chart, like Bitcoin's the way it looks and the way ETH looks, if it holds around those the price, I think that's this class. I think that's what you can hope. If it does like that, then I think that's at least it's doing what the big guys have done before. I think that. Now, will it be worse than?
So you'd maybe be looking at like those early cycles of other coins.
So I don't think you can expect. I don't think you can expect HEX next cycle drop 40% or 50% like Bitcoin. But on the flip side to that, you wouldn't expect it to only do or a 3x like Bitcoin will. So are you expecting more to the upside, going from the bear into the bull market? You'd be expecting a much bigger multiple than Bitcoin. And if it does, that's when you should be worried. If you have to take more risk in an asset that's not as big and doesn't have as much liquidity and doesn't push up, that's the thing you should be worried.
Oh yeah, maybe I'm being unfair. Like in terms of if something goes really, really, really high, then expecting it or demanding that it doesn't go down as much is not really acceptable. Like as in, it's not it's the same problem that people do from the lows, which by the way, when people are like, oh, this asset outperformed Bitcoin or whatever, it's like, yeah, but you're going from the lows where this asset has gone down like 99.99999%. So obviously it's easier to do X's to the upside when the coin got absolutely smashed to the downside. So maybe this whole thing was never a fair comparison.
HEX is not even that cheap when you look at what you can buy. Like, all right,
checks have dropped off.
But look at PulseChain. Look what you can get for $100 a PulseChain. Like, you get like, I don't know, 2 or 3 million at the moment. You can't get that in HEX. So it's still not that cheap.
Yeah, but the supply is massively different.
I'm gonna just present one last thing, and then I'm gonna head off and let you guys have a chat.
I'm heading off with you as well. I'm knackered.
If you guys have a look here, we crossed a milestone with PulseChain. I'm not sure if I can zoom in on this. Let me see. Can you see that? You have too much. How's that? Check this out right here. T-share rate for PulseChain over 30,000 HEX.
So is that higher than ETH? No, it is T.
It's higher than ETH, yeah, which makes sense because there's more activity, more staking activity on PulseChain. So it's going to ramp it up quicker. So officially 3x the launch T-share rate. Officially 3 times on PulseChain. The original T-share rate. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's a sleeper. Like, people are taking it for granted at the moment. When price moves back up and gets anywhere close to being near where we were at the top end of last cycle, that's when people are going to notice that. So
fun fact. Sorry, go on.
Jackson. No, you're cool. You're cool.
Fun fact. So now that we're at 30,000 HEX per T-share, to get the same T-share rate that you would get for one day when HEX launched, now on PulseChain you'd have to stake for 10 years to get that same T-share rate. Which would be 10,000 HEX per 10,000 HEX per T-share. So yeah, that's how much it's moved, and it's not going to stop because, as we all know, the T-share rate always.
You're saying you could have done 1 year.
One day.
To get the same T-share rate for a single day, and now you'd have to do 10 years just to get the same T-share rate.
Correct.
Well, that'd be the same for 1 year. Yeah. So it's you don't get your 20. I guess it scales, but you get your 20% after the per year, isn't it? That's when you start getting.
Yeah. So 1 year would be 1.2.
Yeah.
That is bonkers, bro.
And it's going to keep going. So if anyone thinks that they're going to just wait around to do their stakes, there's no better time to do your stakes in HEX than today. There's no better time, especially with the price of HEX so low. It's like a double whammy. We talked about the price of T-shares last week, so we know how cheap in dollar terms they are, but they're never going to be cheaper ever. In terms of HEX, they'll never be cheaper than what they are today.
So,
but with guys, I'm gonna head off because I've got an early start, so I'll leave you guys to it. And you've got the tangent. You've got controls, yeah.
Yeah, I've got it. See you, man. Thanks for having us, and see you next week.
Thanks, guys,
and see you, Sammy.
See you guys. Take care. Chat soon.
See ya.
So, Tangent, I'll get you to weigh in on this. I had a bit of back and forth with someone on Twitter, and they threw a comment at me, something along the lines of HEXs, and I'm paraphrasing here, it's unfair for new participants because the original guys that were in earlier doing better out of their T-shares. And I replied to him, I said, that's bullshit. I said, he reckons even if someone came in at the top of the market, they would be better off than guys coming now. I said, that's bullshit. The price of a T-share in dollars is fractions of what it was at the top. And he said, yeah, but in HEX terms, they're worse off. I said, yeah, but you're paying 10 times less.
Yeah.
And he
more.
We got in a, it was, we just button heads. Like he wouldn't move and I wouldn't move. We wouldn't budge on our opinions. He's looking at it from HEX terms, and I'm saying, yeah, but you can't just look at it from HEX terms. You've got to look at it in how much economic energy you've got to put in now, as opposed to what you did a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah, you've got to like you have to frame it correctly, and if you're not like if you were already holding the HEX, then no, because then you'd have to compare it to the opportunity cost that you could have sold it. Like so yeah, you know, you're definitely right on all. Like it would be very difficult for them to frame it to make themselves sound right, with the only thing being the technicality of the T-share rate thing, which you're actually already agreeing with too. Yeah. Like you're saying, yes, I understand. Like we both agree on this thing that it takes more HEX now. However, that is not relevant. Like as in that's not. It's not enough. It's not a big enough factor to outweigh these other things. Yeah.
That was his point. Was because of the T-share rate, it's exponentially going up. So therefore, anyone that comes in now is worse off. So you can't look at
that. I don't think it's exponential. Johnny Chaos just said in the chat. I put the note up in lights saying that it doubles approximately every 2.5 years. Yeah. T-share rate doubles in HEX terms every 2.5 years. So I don't even think it's exponential. I think it's like reasonably linear. I mean, 43 just had the chart up. It didn't look excessive to me.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be interesting to see what comes around when in the next 2 years, and just see the way people are thinking. And the mistake I made last cycle is when HEX was cheap, I wasn't staking portions of it because I thought, it's not worth it. Like I'm making $100 or something like that. But that became down the track. That became a lot. That was a lot that was left on the table. I was holding the shit anyway. Like
same.
Yeah. So you're holding.
Yeah, I had liquid bag. I had reasonably sized liquid bags. That's a good point. That at the time when the price is low, you think, what's the point in staking this? Because the interest is going to be fuck all. But then when that price goes up, those extra coins actually make a difference to your bag.
Big difference, yeah. Big difference.
That's a really good point. I am definitely making that mistake right now. Like with liquid bags. Yeah, I mean, I guess I've been accumulating the EHEX on Pulse, which you can't stake anyway because it's the bridged.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think there's anything wrong with that sort of move as well. So depends what you've obviously got long-term things that have locked in, and you've got a short-term play as well. You've got to have a few different strategies, I think. And that's definitely on a discount. So, all good.
Yeah, shit, yeah.
And I think with all the, even worst case scenario, even if you took the yield and done something with it. So if you had a rolling stake or something, and you're going to hold it for the bull, you'd like to think that you're going to hold it for the next cycle. If you've held it this long, you'd be crazy to get rid of it now. So even if you stake it rolling stakes and you're getting yield come off of that, do something with the yield. Like there's heaps of cool things you can do with the yield now. You can go put it on platform. Can you actually deposit HEX on the fiat platform? I haven't checked it.
Like single asset?
like for lending. I think Johnny was playing around with it, I think, at one point.
I haven't looked, but I think you can. I think when I use testnet, you could put any asset you want, like in any of those major assets were in there.
So even if you're doing something like that, like it's just put it to work. Like there's heaps of cool ways you can put things to work at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to check out that platform. There was a little bit of beef going on between a member of the Tang Gang and Buck. And so I think whenever that happens, we don't patronize his platforms as frequently or as like experimentally. Yeah.
Do you think the beefs are really beefs, or they're just getting clicks and engagement?
Yeah, I mean, I like Somi's take of like just being like, this is great. It's like this beef is going to bring awareness to PulseChain.
Exactly.
I was like, that's an awesome take, because it just de-stresses it. It's like, yeah, okay, you guys have a fight. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know how like boxing matches and shit like that get like massive attention.
Yeah. That's the whole game.
It's kind of like a digital boxing fight sort of thing.
Well, that's the game. Is that's how you drum up promotion and get a bigger purse for your fight and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely there's a bit of that going on for sure. So I think if you're a sensitive soul on Twitter,
I woke up one day and there was a meme where it was like, I forget what the animals were, but it's like one is like mounted on the other one, and it was like last night's Twitter space or something, and it was like two, like basically saying that one of them dominated and effed the other in this argument that they had. And I was like, damn, man, I hope that meme stayed within this group and didn't make it onto the timeline. It's like, what? I wouldn't even want a meme like that made about me, even if I was the person that was the winner in the comp.
I think it's just a lot of people just having a bit of good fun on Twitter. I can't take yourself too seriously, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, the idea that that cookies propagated fairly early in the Tang Gang was this idea that if you want to complain about something, if you want to attack someone, if you want to say something negative, like any of these things that can normally cause issues, if you do it with a meme instead of doing it with text, it's going to be better received by the person you're aiming it at. It's going to be better received by the community in general. It's more likely to make people laugh than get like weird. It's much less likely to have an ongoing like 50 message thread that's just like constant battling and stuff like that. Because if everyone had to make a meme to convey their message, then you run out of time in the day, right? You can't have these 50 message threads. It's like you might do one each. And so he was basically just saying it's just a better form of battle. And it's just it's more enjoyable for everyone. And when other communities see it, they're not going to be like, oh, that's trash. Like, why are they behaving like that? It just looks like cool internet culture, right? Like do
you know who I think does
creative?
Do you know who I think does the best job out of everyone in the community? And that's
who?
Johnny Chaos. The way
at piss taking the haters.
Yeah, and doing the videos and things like that. It's clever.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a form of what he's talking about, right? It's like a video meme, sort of, like, even though it's not a meme, it's not. But yeah, it's kind of like, at least with something like that, you can get tone of voice, you can get body language, you can get so that people aren't just going to see the text and then start raging at. So maybe it's those elements that make it more that have some like improvement over the text battle.
So while we're here, I do actually want to give you a proper shout out, Johnny, because man, you haven't given up, and there is many reasons why you could have just walked away from Twitter, because you draw a lot of haters when you get your comments out there, but you keep showing up and you keep talking truth. And I think it's the information you put out to the community is awesome, man. So thanks for taking the arrows for the HEX community when you're getting your message out.
That's awesome. And I'm told, the kids tell me it's called throwing flowers is the term for like complimenting others within the community.
Is that true? Is it?
So yeah, that's what they call it. That's what they've been calling, or that's what they call. I must sound like such a fucking boomer saying that, but it's called throwing flowers.
There you go. I have a bunch.
I think how they have like those parades and shit where they just and just like people throwing flowers. So I guess is where it comes from. But I agree. Crypto 7, like I co-host with on Crypto 7's channel, and he said that the only people that he ever has on the show that gets a higher view, that gets the highest viewership, excluding when he has people like Ivan on Tech, or like if he was to have like Richard Hart or some like crypto celebrity, or like someone that's like a major draw card that everyone's going to tune in for, is myself and Johnny. He says they're the two highest view count boosters, sort of, that people will show up for.
Yep, I could understand that. Did we get proof of life today as well, did we? From Richard.
Oh, with the Richard, have you listened to so Eric Wall says that it's AI.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because I just seen it in our private chat. I haven't gone and chased it down. Was it sent out on Twitter or something? Or
Twitter audio only.
Yep.
And it even had, like, now I'm thinking about it more, he had this thing in there about how if you want to upload audio, Twitter won't actually let you just upload an audio file. It's either text or video. So if you want to do audio, you have to put it in a video and just have a still image video.
Which is what he done, wasn't it?
Which is what he did, yeah. So like we're talking, he's like got a thumbs up image that doesn't move. There's quite a lot of blank silence at the end of the audio. And I'm just thinking, maybe we should get someone to like amplify it in case there's like a hidden message in the, sometimes like there might be some hidden message in the silence.
I've got to go back and listen. Was it just that small clip that was in our chat? It only went for like 30 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I think, so day 43, I think he must have been prepping that up to play it on the show. He just so what he did is he just did it. So rather than that thumbs up image, he just changed it to Richard's profile picture.
Oh, okay. Right.
So he just like modified the image.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, same deal. And notice how it had that silent section at the end.
Yeah.
So I just had a quick flick through the chat to see if anyone specifically said they agreed with either myself or 43 while we were discussing that thing, and no one has commented. So obviously no one gives enough, like no one really cares that much about. It was a pretty subtle thing anyway. We probably shouldn't have spent so long talking about it, but that's all good.
Yeah, I came in on the tail end, so I wasn't sure where you were sort of all going with that.
So, I can't find it. So I'll search for Richard. Yeah, I can't remember how we even got onto that topic, but my bet with Satoshi Nakamoto, Satoshi Stacker Cope Mode. I mean, how I have to admit, if HEX doesn't outperform Bitcoin, So, i.e., worth more sats at the top, then I have to admit that it's no better than any other altcoin.
From what point, though?
So comparing the highest time that the price of HEX was ever against Bitcoin, I think it was like 1,100 sats.
Yep.
And so it had like HEX has to go one of the two has to go over 1,100 sats.
Okay, so on a HEX BTC chart, it needs to break an all-time high. Yep.
Yes, exactly right. Yep, a new all-time high on the BTC base pair. Yep,
that would be some crazier shit to watch. I'm quite enjoy to see that happen.
So are you taking his side? Like
no. I want to see it happen because there is a lot of haters out there that have just piled on and kicking everyone while they're down.
Yeah, man. I will be I shouldn't say if. When it happens, I am going to be flexing so fucking hard that not only winning that bet, but also because so few coins have ever done it, it puts us in like this hall of fame, like altcoin hall of fame. It's like top 5 alts, that stat alone. And I think it's even more powerful because of, and this is probably what does make it difficult. This is probably the one thing that stacks it against my favor is HEX went up massively, right? Like that was a fucking huge number of X's. So that has set like a higher bar for it to have to try and get over now. Yeah. If it had only done 100x, then it would probably smash that shit like easy. So, yeah. But anyway, should we play this thing? I think 43 already played it once, but.
It's my birthday.
No, I'm not getting it.
And then this is silence all the way through here. And so that's like almost half of it is silent.
Okay.
So,
but if it's come from his proper account, then it's got to be legit.
Yeah. It's posted from his proper account 9 hours ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. No,
Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird how like, so part of my OPSEC is that my birthday doesn't exist on the internet, and like, but he never, but I share my screen, and Richard never shared his screen, but he's happy to share his birthday. Isn't it weird how?
I don't
like,
think,
and I know
he
he's
had a choice, man. Like, he didn't have a choice. Like everyone has just gone. Everyone's pulled him to pieces, like doxing him and finding out his real identity and all the whatever
there was all those IDs and shit that got leaked.
Man, if someone wants to dox you, it's not that hard. But you'll have so many footprints around. I don't think it'd be that hard for someone to figure out who you are.
Yeah, I mean, he could have said that those, like, he could have denied them being his IDs or some shit and just been like, they're not my IDs. That shit's fake as fuck. Or so, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I know that wouldn't work against a nation state, but against like just randos on the internet.
I think there's way too much data leakage, like personal information that gets around. Yeah,
I mean, I guess like it's pretty hard to avoid all data breaches, and if you only need to be involved in one data breach for literally all your shit to be in a fucking hacker data dump, like, so
yeah. But if you've ever been part of companies or anything like that, that information's all public. Like people can get it. So if you really want, you can do all those sorts of searches. It just depends how far you want to go trying to track someone down. But it's all there. Unless you're like just if you've never put your face out there, or you just maybe if you just had a Twitter account and nothing else, something like that, that was your only footprint, then maybe, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty interesting that it's do you think so? Some people have said that this sounds like AI. I don't think it does.
It's not coming through, man.
Because someone said that it you can hear him breathing between his words, and AI typically doesn't do that shit. So I think that's a reasonable. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, as in, I don't think it really makes that much difference.
Yeah.
And we worked out he can't be dead because they wouldn't pursue legal action against you if you're dead. So he has to be alive.
Why is it even a question, though? Who's saying that?
I did. I put it out as like one possibility when Buck was like, let's do a Twitter space where we explore all the possibilities of why Richard Hart hasn't streamed. I was like, one of them is that he's dead. Like, as in pre-recorded videos for the launch and for the Highest of Stakes movie, and then never hear from him other than tweets. It kind of like, do you know what I mean? Like, the no live shit is like, and especially at the time, because at that time when Buck did that thing, I don't think the SEC shit had dropped yet. So I was just exploring.
This was always
like
on the cards. I don't know why people are surprised by his actions, because it was always on the cards. He said it multiple times that he's not always going to be around, and I can't remember the exact.
Did he actually say that?
Yeah, shit, yeah. And he said,
I don't remember him saying that. I remember him calling Satoshi a bitch for disappearing, and I remember him saying that, like, Vitalik doesn't do that bitch shit. I remember him saying all that shit. I don't remember him saying that he wouldn't always be around.
Yeah, it would be interesting to go back and use that search tool for his streams and just
yes, hexsearch.io.
Yeah, it would be interesting to do that, because I can't remember his exact words that he used, but it was something along those lines that he's not going to be around forever. He could just do a Satoshi and disappear into the night, sort of thing.
There was something that Thoughtschild said to me today that he said, and I was like, shit, I don't remember him saying that. He said some guy came into a stream or a chat or something and said, hi, Richard, I'm like X numbers of years old and I'm dating a chick that is X numbers of years old. I would like sort of legal but creepy, like sort of like legal but like a large age gap. And he reckons that Richard Hart said, you're like sort of insulted him or something. But I was like, shit, I don't remember that interaction. And I'm pretty sure I've watched literally everything of his.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about using hexsearch.io to find out what it was and find it, and we can do it for this thing as well.
Yeah. So if anyone's got the will to go and have a search, by all means, knock yourself out.
What was the one that we were just talking about?
It was something about he may do a Satoshi or something like that and leave, I don't know the exact word.
Like the so like because you said something like, I won't always be around. I'll check that. All right. And then
I think just in regards to the comment in the chat, I think everyone was a little bit nervous when he was pushing the Ferrari around the racetrack.
Oh yeah, that's right. Everyone was like, "Please don't die! Please don't die! Please don't die!" Wait, this search is actually really good. It doesn't just you know how a lot of search engines, if you type stuff in, it has to be either identical to it or it has to at least contain all the words. This is actually really sophisticated. So it's like, it's finding videos where I wrote, "I won't always be around," and it's found videos where it's like got "always will be," because there's an I in the word will and then be and always. So this is actually really sophisticated search algorithm. Oh my God, the number of results though is insane. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't that keen to go and have a go myself.
Do you know what would be, you can double search. So like you could search so that it filters all the movies, and then you can search so that you're just coming up with stuff that's in a specific order, like a Control F.
I'm sure if you knew how to structure your search, you could do it like a what do they call it, regex search or whatever they call it, or if you know how to use all
use all the different little modifiers like negatives and shit. Yeah. Do you know what? Maybe you're right that it should be like some shit. Anyway, we won't waste the viewers' time with this, but
and
maybe just Satoshi.
Yeah.
See all the times that he's ever said Satoshi.
Yeah, there's going to be hundreds, man.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Good luck with it. That's going to keep you busy.
Yeah, that's a lot. Shit.
So, just on Doz's comment about Adam Back being Satoshi, have you been paying attention to the Craig Wright stuff going on?
Someone said that a tweet went out from Satoshi's Twitter or something.
I'm not sure about that, but so his CEO left the company because he finally realized that Craig Wright wasn't Satoshi. So, took him 3 years. 4 years.
Holy shit. How fucking dumb would you feel? Holy fuck, bro. Oh my God. Imagine being a grown man and believing that shit and then realizing, fuck, bro.
Everything you believe. Because he would have sunk probably a fair bit of cash into that business as well, no doubt.
I just can't imagine how that would feel, because I just can't imagine myself being that stupid, and just ignoring facts. I can't imagine that I would just completely fucking head in the sand, ignore data. Also, I find when for a while now, I've lived with the bigger the claim, the bigger the requirement for evidence.
Oh, hell yeah. But the thing is, it's very easy to prove that he is. Like, if he can sign a transaction, then it's no longer in question. So I don't know why you.
This is one of the biggest claims that exists in humanity, in history. It's like, I created a technology that is going to literally save humanity. Literally create a fairer and better world. That's the claim. That's the claim. And then motherfuckers just trust his word. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
What?
But there's a lot of people that have followed him over that cliff. People that I know personally that sold all their BTC and everything and moved it to Satoshi Vision and absolutely crushed on the last market.
Wrecked.
Yeah, I just had that much faith that it was him. And as an Aussie, I'd love it love Satoshi to have been an Aussie, but he's
but not him.
No, he's just the worst.
So, I remember people getting real passionate about Bitcoin Cash, and I thought that was a more reasonable Bitcoin to get fooled by, because you didn't have anyone like specifically lying, in my opinion. You just had people that had a different opinion of what was best, and had some of the things they were saying was not insane. Like, it was not flat out insane. There were they had a couple of like good points that if you looked at them in isolation, they sounded reasonable. It's only once you started to look at the more big picture that you realized that it wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't enough of a, because they used to say, if we don't increase the block size, it's going to increase centralization, and then there's more chance for companies to be able to kind of like co-opt the network and shit like that. So like having bigger blocks is going to ensure like more longevity on keeping it like the people's coin or whatever. But I think the counter is that these sorts of technologies scale in layers, and that's fine. Like, you don't have to have like the internet didn't have literally everything just on one layer, right? So yeah. And that's just two small examples, but yeah. So, oh man, like, that would be the worst. That would be the worst. Imagine losing money and feeling like an idiot at the same time.
So I've got someone just asked me about liquid loans in chat. I'll give you what I know. So what happened on testnet, probably, what are we talking, 3 months ago now, the Fetch Oracle was up and running on testnet, and it's decentralized, so anyone can run a reporter and so forth. And they had someone inject a malicious value into the price feed, which is, you got to expect that people are going to try and break things. So they've actually developed an extra piece of what would you call it? Like a little extra bit of software that can run, and it just handles the dispute mechanism a bit better on the Fetch Oracle. And that's what's getting tested at the moment on testnet. So that's the critical piece, is as soon as that's done and solid, that's when everything will launch. The team, for everything I know, they're saying October still. But guys, just, you know what dates are like with this sort of stuff. I wouldn't hang your hat on that. And to be honest, you don't want to rush this last little bit. Like, that Oracle component is really, really important. So I'm happy for them to spend as much time as they need getting that right and testing it and putting it up on testnet so people can try and break it. And that's what people should be doing. They should be trying to break that protocol before we go live. But that's the thing I'd be watching for. If you're trying to find timeframes, just keep your ears out for that Fetch Oracle component, because that's the key. Once that's all good to go, then there's nothing stopping it.
I'm super keen.
I think it's going to have a pretty good price positive impact. Once people get comfortable with it and understand how it works, I think there's a lot of good that can come out of it, and just the actual launch of it should bring about some good things.
Yeah, like liquid loans is one of the ones where it was like the delays were as legit as it gets. Yeah. Whereas there are other protocols that I won't name just because I don't want to sound like a hater, where I'm like, there's no reason why this shit is still not fucking launched.
That's right. Like, yeah.
Where other teams have come through with no SAC, part-time devs, and that's like, I think I can think of 3 different examples of protocols where same story, some team just comes out of nowhere, no sack and part-time devs, and brings like a higher quality. I guess higher quality is a bit unfair because we don't know the quality of the shit that hasn't launched, but a good quality example of that thing to market and before them, and it's just like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah. So there's some protocols that, or platforms or whatever you want to call them, that if they launch and they're not successful, it's bad for people that have put money into it, but it's not the end of the world. With something like liquid loans, which could end up being pretty integrated with a lot of things across the ecosystem, that's when you don't want to fuck it up. Like
yeah, 100%.
You want to get that right,
and it needed the Oracle, which it actually genuinely needed the Oracle.
What people don't understand is, without Fetch and the Teller guys behind it, like that, what they've actually built doesn't exist anywhere else. Like Chainlink is heavily centralized, and they're not going to. I just can't see them coming over and supporting HEX at the moment.
Yep.
For a couple of reasons. I think everyone still wants to hate on Richard, and there is definitely an ETH inner circle. And if you're part of the VC crowd and you've got your Arbitrums and bloody Base and Poly and all that, then you'll get green ticks and everyone will help you, and they're all about it. But if you're anything that's in any way competitive, then good luck. Like if you're not in the boys club there with the early ETH guys,
agreed.
Very, very hard to get them to work. So they've had to literally build something that doesn't exist on the other chains. So that's why that one's taken longer. A lot easy to fork things, but when you've got to actually build it and test it, and that's different. Yeah,
I'm excited about having stuff. Like I've never seen anything like Proteus. And I like the idea of us having stuff that is only on our chain.
Do we know who's behind that?
As in other devs.
The team and
devs. If you go on their Telegram, the dev is has a handle, like the dev has a name.
Yep.
But I don't know. It might be a pseudonym though.
Yeah. Are they? I heard someone call them Eastern guys. Are they from India or somewhere, or is that where the team is? Or
I remember one of the guys on the team was saying that English is not their first language. I remember them saying that.
Yeah. No, they're killing it. They're doing a good job.
Yeah. I'm really impressed with Proteus. It's so good. And I've been recommending it a lot lately because I think it keeps economic energy in the chain, in our ecosystem, which I think is really important, because the more economic energy we have leaking out, the harder it is to get everything to go up. And it's and I think someone said that once the V3 LPs come out, it's going to be able to route through those as well. So
do you want V3 LPs?
Do I want them?
Yeah.
No. If it was up to me, I wouldn't. But that's probably being a bit selfish.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I like the simplicity. I like the simplicity and not having to compete. I don't like having to manage LPs and actually check to see whether the price is still in the zone and then having to move it and shit like that. I like this even playing field. Everyone's on V2. You just if you want to earn LP fees, you just put it in, and everyone is 0 to infinity.
Yeah, I think it allows for price to move up better as well.
Oh yeah, because no one can stack the book.
Yeah, but it's a lot more consistent in the way the formula works.
Yeah. You don't have just weird resistance and then but also it cuts both ways in a bad way. It can fucking lock it in with heaps of shit building up around near the price as people stack all their LP around that price. But then if it goes out of that fucking range, it's like bell curve. It just goes straight. So it's kind of fucked that you get like low volatility, but then if it goes outside of where all that shit's stacked, it just either goes to the moon or to zero.
Yeah. But what everyone was watching the targeted liquidity and expecting that to happen a lot, but at the 11th hour, everyone just moved it up.
And because of the low fees, low fees on PulseChain, people will be able to move their shit fucking heaps.
Yeah.
So that could be fun, like just moving LPs like all the like heaps. But I guess it's click monkey shit, yeah. So yeah, look, I'm not gonna and if I had a button that would pause or prevent V3 from coming out, I still wouldn't push it because I don't want to slow technological innovation just for the ease of my own personal financial strategy.
Oh yeah. No, look, it's coming whether you like it or not. I'm actually really surprised no one's done it already. Like why wouldn't they?
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. I mean, look, 9 mil are doing a lot of firsts. Like they're going to have the first functioning block scanner. I think it's 11% synced at the moment. Mm-hmm. They're going to have the first Pancake V3 fork, and they are going to have. I think there maybe is something about their marketplace that is also does something that the other marketplaces don't do. I can't remember.
Did you just say Pancake's got V3 running already?
Yeah, so this is technically a PancakeSwap V3 fork, which is a Uniswap V3.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were running V3 already.
Well, I'm parroting what I heard Cookies says, but he rarely fucks up, especially not with something like that. So I heard him say in a Twitter space when we were talking about it that it was technically a PancakeSwap fork, and not So PancakeSwap V3.
Yeah, I was surprised that it's taken so long. I thought that would have been one of the first things that a team forked.
Yeah, I just checked. Yep.
Cool.
Yep, PancakeSwap's got V3.
All right, won't be long then. The joys of having just V2 will be gone.
I'm pretty sure if Cookies was going to make a comment like that, it probably came from the dev team because they've been great. Like 9 mil have been active Tangang participants, so they didn't just come in and negotiate a deal of like, hey, you guys help us raise awareness and we'll give you this and then like see you later, like, you know what I mean, like you know, and that would be fine as well, right? Like deals are deals. Like if you fulfill your side of what you've promised and you get what you want, that's okay as well. But they decided to actively stay community members of the Tangang after the bulk of everything had been finished. I think everything that was initially negotiated is basically done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool.
So
there's a lot going on. So Ash has just said, does V3 reduce the strength of bonding pairs? I'm pretty sure it does. Hang on, let me just. Now, if something's if something's pooled with something, it will still have that same effect.
Yeah, it still does because it's the ARBs. It's the ability for it to ARB that creates that. The bonding is the ARB. That if that price moves far enough, someone can go I can just buy it over here and sell it over there, and then they have to buy that.
Yeah, I just not 100% because like that's what I like about V2. It's very simple in that
the math is way easier.
Yeah, like when you put the two things in the pool, you can see the direct relationship. And with V3, I'm just not sure how that affects it. I don't have enough knowledge on V3 and how it works to say.
At a basic level, though, I am pretty sure the bonding effect would still occur, because it's still ultimately, even though it's like no longer linear and it's like fucking jagged ass shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if it's bound with the nest going up. Yeah.
The basic function of how that arb works, it has to still occur. But it just gets more complicated rather than it just being like what pool is thicker and what ratio is it. It's like how is it stacked and the fee, like also the fees, because when these smart routers look for the best route, it has to factor in fees and and sometimes with V3 shit, how V3 it's got, for the same pair, it's got multiple fee tiers. They're all technically different pools. So if it has to use across those fee tiers, if it wants to use multiple, it's got to pay the fees of engaging with each of those. Each is a different transaction, like each is a different swap. So the fees could start to like blow up real crazy if you're like, if the path just starts splintering out onto like a lot of different shit. Like even just with Petias, how it is now, I've had some trades that have been like 16 cents in fees, which is like, 20 times higher than like normal.
Yeah.
And so it can, and that's not with any like crazy splintering shit. It's just like fairly basic paths. So we'll just see what happens.
Was it the introduction of V3 that made limit orders possible? Because I'm just trying to think back in time whether.
I don't think so.
Because that's one thing that we don't have on Pulse at the moment, and some of them are a little bit centralized in the way they do things, but I'm not sure whether that was one of the big things with V3.
I don't want anyone to quote me on this, but I think the way that CowSwap gets limit orders to work is so it basically, you pre-sign and this is obviously just one platform, but you pre-sign a thing that would say, yes, I'm willing to swap for this amount, and that gets submitted to them, and then that stays available to them to use as a pre-signed transaction. And then if the price gets within a range where an ARB bot can pay the fee, like that, if the price goes far enough past your asking price, that a bot can pay the fee would become the difference, so that an ARB bot can pick it up and basically execute the order. So that so that's why you don't have to pay the gas at the time, because that would be the secondary problem, right? Is like, one, it needs a signed transaction, and two, the gas needs to be paid at the time that you are transacting. And so both those problems get solved with the way they've set it up. You give them the pre-signed transaction and a bot pays the gas. So like an ARB bot pays the gas. So I can't see why that wouldn't work with V2 pools.
Interesting.
So lots of exciting stuff. Did you want to mention, or are we allowed to mention or not allowed to mention the novel coin that launched today?
Oh, Don't see why we can't. It's our channel. We can do what we like, can't we?
I guess we can Easter egg the shit out of it. Well, I mean, this show's supposed to be like focused on HEX, but this is an Easter egg for anyone who's bothered to stay here for, oh my God, this has been running for almost 3 hours. Holy fuck. We're in 10 seconds. This is going to be a 3-hour stream. What the shit?
It's because I come on late all the time and then we hang around.
I'm actually like, I've been yawning and shit. So I'll head off soon. So let's do outros, and part of the outro can be this this coin. Do you want to talk about it, or like, so basically you guys remember Unisocks, where it was, and I think that was like, it was per sock, right? Like,
yeah, so one token
2.
represented one. No, I think it was a pair.
So okay, so that one was pairs.
Yeah, so
one
token
came out afterwards where it was 1 token per sock, so you actually needed 2 to get the pair.
No, I don't think that was the case. I could be wrong.
So maybe not Unisocks, but it might have been some Pulse socks or something.
Yeah, so Unisocks, I think it launched pretty much when Uniswap first came out. It was like just showing how bonding curves work, and it was very limited supply, 500 tokens, and if you wanted to, you could redeem one of those tokens for a pair of socks. Now, the price, because it was only 500 tokens, the price of Unisocks got up to, I think it's something like 69 grand or something like that per token. So if you were to redeem your token to get the socks, you would have had to pay essentially 69 grand for a pair of socks. So it was like a big flex and some guys went and got them at that price just to flex. So so what launched today on PulseChain was one called Fluffy Slippers. So I can see Sommy's in the chat. So there was a bit of a shout out to Sommy for that one as well. So there's Fluffy Slippers. You'll have to have a look in the. Can we put a Telegram link out?
This is actually a coincidence, because Ash had posted this before we started talking about this.
Did he?
This Ash comment about Somi, because the Fluffy Slippers things is a Somi thing, right?
I meant
definitely
for sure.
is.
Yeah. No, he's responsible for that whole. What would you call it?
Like the entire meme, I guess.
Yeah. And like everyone, like I've got heaps of private chats with guys that are in crypto, but they're not full on Twitter and that every day, and they all talk about having pointy elbows and stream backs and all that. So there's a lot of comments that Sommy's put out there, and they've just stuck, like, and it's actually helped gel the community together. So yeah, well done, man.
Yeah.
So
this is like, you get. Do you know if this one's for the pair?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's for the pair.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, because I'm in a small group of like degens that talk about like what coins they're buying and stuff like that, and one of the guys was actually saying this actually isn't that expensive at the moment. Like, if you actually wanted the slippers. This price is not insane for a pair of slippers.
No.
But currently.
I think what the kicker would be, though, imagine you redeemed your coin and then it went on to this astronomical amount, and effectively you have paid $69,000 for those socks. Whether you've done it now when it might have cost you $50.
Yeah, you could have the flex of saying these slippers technically cost me the opportunity cost of like $10,000 or like whatever the
that's right.
like.
Yeah, so you would it's a pretty big call to do it if that's what's possible. Yeah, I'd be.
But actually,
I'd be kicking my own ass with those slippers if I'd done that.
What about if it went to 0? Oh wait, it can't. Like, if it went to 0, then you can just claim the slippers.
It can't, because this comes back to the V2 bonding, the way the liquidity pool worked. When you bind those tokens at the beginning, even if everyone, I guess if everyone, no, because if everyone sells it, there's still.
Does it just go back to the price it started at then?
But you can't sell it. You've got to. you have to redeem it, so you've got to hold
Do
it.
they burn the LP?
No. But yeah, so the tokens get burnt every time you redeem them for the socks, eh? Yeah, I'd have to think about that one. I don't know.
So, like, the thing I like about it is it's like, if you believe everything is like a meme narrative here, like it's got this sort of novelty use case.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, there's a use case. You can get some slippers. Like,
yeah.
It's better. Like, it's more than you can say about virtually any other fucking coin. Like, every other coin is you can just sell it for other cryptos. Like, it's just like speculation. But this one, it's like, well, you can do exactly what you can do with every other crypto, but you could also theoretically, if the fucking price tanked to zero or to a price that you just wanted, you could just get some slippers.
Yeah.
Are they gonna have the logo? Are they gonna have the coin's logo on the slippers? Or
yeah, I think the picture of the slippers you can see on the website is.
Oh, so they've got a website and everything.
Yeah. What is it? I think it's.
Because basically they've got a Telegram group which is like Fluffy Official or some shit. View group info, Fluffy Slippers _official, and then web fluffyslippers.xyz. Oh, they look dope, dude. They look dope. Yeah. They've got hexagons and shit on them.
Yeah, no, they're pretty cool,
dude. They're sick. I might have to fucking get a pair.
The redemptions aren't enabled at the moment, I don't think.
Well, they better turn the redemptions on before this price goes skybound, because then I'm definitely not going to get them. Like, there's no way I would do the redeem if it was like So there's only 500 tokens. So there must only be 500 slippers or pairs of slippers.
Yeah. But the way that, and this is the cool thing about V2 pools and stuff. So the way that bonding curve works with Unisocks, to buy the last final pair of socks. So if it was on, sorry, I've got a dog going off in the background. If it was on pair 499, to buy the last 500th pair.
Oh, it costs infinity.
It costs infinity, yeah. So it costs all the ETH in existence on the ETH chain. Essentially.
Fuck, you can't get that last token. Like, you can't, because it would be at 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
so it goes, that's just the way they. So that's the cool things about, like, and I don't know whether that's the same on V3 or what we're just talking about with the V3 pools and stuff, but definitely on V2.
You know what's interesting, Jexer? We get a fucking sick deal here because it includes shipping anywhere in the world. So usually it's pretty expensive to send to us.
Yeah.
So
we're at the arse end of the world.
So that's interesting. So we get an even better deal than most people get.
If $69,000 is a good deal for a pair of slippers.
Do you know what I think I would maybe have to do if I was going to do it? I'd have to buy an extra one that I wasn't going to buy and redeem that. So you're literally going, okay, I'm literally taking these dollars
and prepared
like additional to this, because I wasn't going to buy any more bag. Like, that bag was the bag that I was going to hold. And now I'm literally coming in, so I can never kick myself being like, oh, fuck, I spent $69,000 on a pair of slippers, because it's like, you would have never owned that coin. You didn't intend on buying it.
Yeah.
That would probably be the way to protect yourself psychologically.
No. I don't know, man. I think whichever way you looked at it, like, you would still be kicking yourself. I couldn't do it.
I remember I bought some Bitcoin Converse, and I don't even want to do the calculation of what, because it was, you had to buy this NFT to get the shoes.
Yep.
And you bought the NFT with ETH, and I think they were already expensive. Like, I think it might have been like, too much ETH. I think it might have been, I can't even remember. But yeah, these look, dude, I was kind of half hoping that they would look shit, or do you know what I mean? So that you're like, no, I don't want them. But I actually kind of want these. I didn't even share. Sorry, I didn't even share the screen. Fuck. So those are the slippers, guys. Modern, very aerodynamic. This logo is on the side of them, and then the next one across, and it's like all hexagons. Can we make this a bit bigger? Oh shit!
I think go up a little bit. Like scroll. No,
Here we
scroll
go.
the end of the page. I think there's like more photos.
Oh, it's got a PulseChain logo on it as well. Damn. Dude, does that mean that this one does the same thing, where the 500th pair?
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Is infinite poles?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess it has to be. I don't know. It's the same, exactly the same bonding and everything.
I actually really like the. I actually really like the. I like it. I like this. I like the kind of like ridiculousness of it. And do you know what is actually interesting is one of the most powerful narratives in crypto is, hey, this coin over here did this, and here's a reasonable narrative as to why this is somewhat similar. Richard actually used it for HEX, where he said Bitcoin and Ethereum did this many X's, so it is possible, right? People did it with other Oracle protocols. They said Link did this many X's, and if we can just capture X percentage of its market share, then our coin's going to do a blah, 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 blah X. People looked at, so it's common that people basically point to something similar and then say, if this does the same, or if this even does half as much of price action or whatever, right? Then just to get people's imagination going as to what is possible. And then once people believe that that's possible, then it's more likely to actually head in that direction. So
and this goes for all assets at the moment. What no one's factoring in is like we talk about all these V2 pools binding things together. It's when you get a massive push up in USD value, that's when things just go ballistic, because they're already leveraged to some degree the way the pooling works, and then you get the USD value going up as well, and that's when it gets crazy ass. And that's
the pumps. So the pumps that we're seeing now, which are already pretty crazy on some PulseChain things, if PulseChain was fucking pumping at the same time, the dollar gains that people would be flexing on their friends would just get so much FOMO, because people would just be like, I turned $10 into like fucking 10 grand. And their friend is going to be like, okay, fucking show me how to do this shit. Like, where are the RPC settings for this thing? Like, I need to be on that shit immediately. So,
sorry, you go, keep going.
No, you're right that it's like, it just exaggerates all the perceived gains. It exaggerates all the flex gains, and it's real gains, like it's real dollars.
Yeah. So if chat's still awake out there, I think we've still got a few people listening. Just let me know if you think are you negative on the whole macro and everything, what's going on? Are you doom and gloom, or do you think like what's happening?
You're asking the chat?
Yeah, you have a comment as well, though. Have a comment.
I've personally just been ignoring all of it.
I think everyone's
I'm not ignoring it in a humanitarian way. I'm like from my investment thesis. I just ignore all that legacy shit.
So I think there's a lot of doom and gloom being spread out there, but everything I'm seeing is like it's looking pretty mad for crypto, and love it or hate it with the BlackRock thing. Like,
Crypto 7 made an amazing comment today. He dropped by the Twitter space and he just came in, just absolutely mic dropped and left. He was like, "Hey, did you guys notice that there's like a freaking like a war just like cooking, and Bitcoin literally just didn't react at all, like literally went down like 0.4% today." And I was like, holy shit, that's so bullish.
So I listened to a podcast the other day, and the guy, I have to dig it out because it was just awesome. Like, this guy explained the macro stuff, and the way he done it was just magnificent. You could, like, even an idiot that doesn't know what's going on in macro, you could understand it. So it was really good. But what the Fed is looking at the moment is the unemployment rate, and the narrative they're putting out to everyone is we haven't seen that. We haven't seen enough people lose their jobs now to be in a recession. But what they're not telling you is all private companies, the vacancies are higher. Like they're putting off people, and there's less jobs available. And what's actually happening is it's the government that's boosting the numbers like by 30% or something like that. So the government's actually growing. Government jobs are growing, and so it's more government spending that's propping up that headline figure of the unemployment rate. And the only way you can afford that is print money. Like if they're going to spend all this money they don't have, it's going to come from somewhere, and that's what people aren't sort of seeing. So that's why I'm pretty bullish on what's coming our way. I think
there was someone else that said that as well. Someone was quoting someone that said they absolutely have to print.
The times come like they're things are that out of whack. And then I don't want to go down this road too much, but when you start seeing more wars and things like that, usually that's a good reason to print money, isn't it?
Wait, look at how cool this is. So it's got the PulseChain logo, and kind of like it looks like lightning is sort of like sprouting off from the logo, right? And then over here, it's got the Somi love heart, the colored love hearts that Somi does. Now, Jexar, this coin name is Fluffy Slippers 00. Like, do you think they're going to do multiple? So edition 0. Does that sound to you like they're going to do more than one release set?
Don't know. Yeah, not sure. Like
edition 0.
You would have to change it though, wouldn't you? Like you wouldn't just redo the same thing, surely.
Yeah, you couldn't. It'd have to be a different,
because it'll water down the value of the first edition. Yeah. Don't know.
People would get pissed. The price actually just dropped a tiny bit.
Yep.
So I mean, standard commentary. I don't know if I already said, like this has got a much higher than average liquidity for. In fact, I might as well just share this screen as well. But basically, this has got actually a much higher liquidity than what you would normally expect for a coin of this age. It's like only 6 hours or 10 hours old. And so I'll just share this. So they went super large into the LP from the start, which meant you don't have those like psycho starting candles where the price is being bought up like very quickly because the LP is so small. And so this thing's actually only up 5.5x, so 450% from the starting point, which in crypto world, that's pretty small. Like, you know, you see these coins where they launch and on day one, it's like thousands, like tens of thousands. It was like 25,000% 24-hour fucking price change because of this phenomenon I was saying, where it's like if they start with a really small LP, the first few buys, the thing's just going off its fucking nut. So at the moment, it's pulled back about 20% from the high, and it's got 28 grand worth of liquidity, and the market cap is 33 grand. So that indicates to me that not only did they put quite a lot of LP in at the start, but they also put the majority, if not all of the tokens into the LP. So the stats, like the stats on it are actually fairly reasonable. The narrative that you can actually redeem it for slippers is funny, like, I guess, like, as in it's
novel.
I mean, I noticed on the website they show the chart of what happened with uni socks just to rev people up, I guess. It's like just some absolutely psycho gains. But yeah, I thought that coin was worth mentioning. I'm gonna chart it on my stream where I do the PRC 20 charting, and we'll just keep an eye on it and see how it goes. Maybe we'll see who actually redeems. I'm pretty keen, man. I'm pretty keen to.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll hold my judgment yet. I'd hate to have a flashy pair of slippers and a chart that just goes mental.
Yeah, shit.
But hey,
because it's one of those ones where you wouldn't be because, like, you know, those cons I mentioned, I can ignore it. Like, I can pretend like I don't have to go and back and calculate how much it cost me. But these ones, you'll never be able to not do the calc really easily in your head because you know it's just one token. It's just one. For me, I bought that shit. It was like an amount of ETH. I'd need to go and look up how much the ETH was, how much it cost at the time, like how much the ETH was worth, and how much the ETH is worth now. But with this one, it's like it's going to be in your face forever. And there'll be people on the timeline being like, ha ha.
Very good.
Yeah, cool, man.
There we go, mate. We want to
going
over 3 hours.
I'm struggling. I'm struggling.
No,
thanks for coming through and giving me second wind, and we'll continue the mission another time.
Unfortunately, daylight savings has messed with my timing of coming on, so
it makes it even harder for you to, because you were already coming in a little bit late. Now it's like another hour.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. But yeah, I'll show up whenever I can.
Very cool, very cool. And I'll try and to hang back, since I've got the access to the admin thing, and also I'm in the time zone that makes it less drastic for me in terms of how late it gets, and I don't have a job, so so I don't have to get up at a specific time the next day. Cool, man. Really good to see you.
Likewise, and thanks, chat, for joining us once again.
Yeah, true. Shout out, chat. There's still 45 people watching, even after we've done a 3.5 hour stream. Damn. All right, man. See ya.
Cheers, guys.